Hello, everybody, and welcome back to some more action from the League of Dracula. This is the final match of the final league, and as you can see again, similar to the game that I uploaded with Pizza Wizard, I'm not showing you the live game. This is a post-game commentary, and I'm joined in the commentary booth by Roscoe. Hello, good evening, Roscoe.
Hello, yes, good evening, back again.
And what's the plan for this? Yeah, we're going to watch through this game. So basically, the reason why I'm re-recording this again is just because, similar to the game of Pizza Wizard, but even to a greater extent, my health wasn't great when I recorded this, and you can really hear it in the original recording. So I'm just like, I don't want that. I can't even listen to it. So if I can't listen to it, nobody else will want to listen to it. So I thought, now we're fresh and everything, I can commentate again about what I was. Obviously, I know what happens. You're not gonna hear it from a reaction in terms of like not knowing what's going to happen. But then the fact we've got Roscoe here. Roscoe didn't spectate this game at all, so you're seeing it completely fresh. Roscoe, you know the result, Roscoe, because you saw it in the Discord, but you don't know how it panned out, what happened, all this sort of stuff.
No, exactly, it'll be useful, yeah, it'll be a nice, I'm just watching it straight from the spectator's point of view and getting your insight from how it went, so looking forward to it and see how lucky you got, how skillful you
And obviously, it'd been great if we got Werecraft here, but just because of timing and like I think Werecraft's traveling right now. So if Werecraft, if you're listening to this, feel free to comment with your thoughts on the game and things that were happening. That'd be great. So yeah, obviously silent movie time again. So just be us two filling the void with our nonsense. So we'll get cracking. Hopefully, the video's not too laggy or anything. So yeah, just normal stuff, nothing. You're not going to see anything really weird out of me, Godalming in Bucharest or whatever. Oh, great, YouTube now decides to die. Fantastic. That's a brilliant start. And now it's gone to like 140p. Oh no, it's 360p. Come on. You should be in HD. Come on. Oh dear.
What
Fantastic.
time we live in.
I know. Jeez, Christ, I'm the Luddite now. I've had this loaded up for like the past like 2 hours, and now it's like, oh no, you're trying to play this video. No, you're going to die. Muppet. Yeah, so nothing unusual out of me. No real shocks going on.
Yeah.
So if you see things that you want to, if you want me to pause at any point, you just give me a shout. Sense of emergency, that's nice on Seward. Oh, gain all the crucifixes. Okay, so BG, Spain's ruled out. Unfortunately. Yeah. I don't know why I said that to him. I don't know why that came out. I got forewarned as well, so that's a pretty nice start.
That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is interesting because when I used to do my Toulouse and Barcelona startup, Evil Presence, even if I was in Barca, Evil Presence wouldn't show that up.
Yep.
And a lot of times it's useful because then it can be a misdirected to lose back out, or I can sit and hide. Seward may then move, but you can start to almost circumnavigate Seward as well because it's almost like, right, Spain's cleared, I can move out now, and it allows it. So that's always a good one. That little coastal is just that one.
I do like it.
Yeah, which is strange. I mean, you think I know it's adjacent to it, but for the sake of that one city and the same, it's good that it doesn't cover the whole country. But that's a nice one. I've had a few where I thought it's been cleared and then they just moved out, and it just gives you a nice little.
So I don't know if my
free
memory's playing
move.
tricks on you. I discovered, quote unquote.
Oh, here we go.
I found Barcelona to be a nice start, and I did it. And then you then mentioned in a video like a few months ago, that you did the Barcelona start. I was like, oh, and now I'm thinking like, did I learn that from you, or did I discover that we just happened to just both discover the same? Obviously, you discovered it way before me because you were playing way before.
Yeah,
That's
I
interesting.
yeah, it was. I just found it because I thought it was quite handy that Evil Presence didn't find it, and the Toulouse to Barcelona, then it was a hide, and then a rumour, and then because even then, if it was a case of it's newspapers after the third day and it's revealed on the fifth, Seward still has a 2 train ride to get there.
Yeah.
And then it's fog. I usually, if I had fog, I'd place fog or bats, and then it would mature. And by then I can be out into France and kind of gives it a nice. But then I probably started. I mean, I didn't use it every game, but I used it enough where, again, that's where I think it was when I was playing with Quincy and Mr. Green. It was like, oh well, we got higher scouts. We'll check Barcelona just to check, and it was like,
Yeah.
right. like with all these things, you've got to mix it up. But I really liked it. It was nice. If it's not revealed, it's a nice
It is a nice start.
it's a nice little area. And again, if Evil Presence is played, typically hunters don't think of Barcelona and they assume that Spain's empty and might decide to leave if it's if they haven't revealed you and it's day 4 or 5. Then Seward might be inclined because by then he'll be tooled up probably. And the best thing you see him is just training up to Bordeaux, and it's like,
Yep.
nice, I can move to 48. So,
And also there's things you can do
great
from it. You
minds
can
think
go
alike.
454, you can go to 36, and then you could wolf form from 36 as well. And you've tricked me
Yeah,
before with wolf forms from 36 to locations we will not disclose, but Marseille has a lot
yeah.
of wolf form locations, which makes it very potent. And obviously, if they're having to go to deal with Barcelona, so you see, I'm just seeing certain things here. Like I got fast horse,
Oh,
got a
A3
CG,
CG.
yeah,
Jeez.
yeah, and a renewed vigor.
And oh my god,
And
see,
I've got my third fast
and
horse,
Posse. Oh,
and sense of urgency, and I've got a forewarned and a vampire lair. I got everything traded across, so then Kadami's not stuck with 2 horses. Mina already had the horse, so yeah, all the horses are stuck at the top this time.
I mean, that's just I mean, that's kind of draws I can only wish about. 63 cards left, and you've got renewed vigor, CG. I mean, that's wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was funny earlier when you were saying we were chatting with Werecraft, and you were you were saying about yeah, you can supply, and you can until you find fast horse. Hunters can just stay in one spot and supply. And I was just thinking of our game with you and Jai were just
Oh my
sitting in
days.
Bordeaux for 3 weeks. I was like,
Oh, don't even
I
get
wonder,
me going
I
about
wonder who's going to
that.
bring that up.
You know why I'm not having brought it out? Because I'll wait for it to go out on YouTube. So people,
I'll honestly,
that'll be
both those ones
that's
are
gonna be a
quite
very
interesting.
fun.
Those both are those
That's a
2v1s with him will be interesting to watch.
that's very funny. Yeah, they were very good. So I'm just trying to work out here, like, does Gadara need sense of emergency? Maybe, depends on if I've got a horse economy set up, where this first card is.
Yeah, and then I guess that frees up Van Helsing another 2 spaces for supplying then. So
I don't know if you see this, there's a little bit of mind games going on here from Werecraft. Oh, I feel like the underdog.
yeah.
trying to get into my head a little bit.
It was interesting saying that when he was mentioning about actively doing that to kind of post and stuff or getting people confused, and it does. It's
I mean,
it's a little bit of mind games can work.
yeah, there's nothing in the rules saying that you can't do that. It was more spectators
No, no.
shouldn't talk unless the players say yeah you can talk. But if the players are playing amongst themselves, then oh well, that's their call. Like, I can ignore it. Like if I want to ignore it, I can ignore it.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
why
exactly.
I didn't look at it immediately because I was like, no, I want to do my turn properly. So yeah, until obviously things I've got a newspaper as well, but that's going to be revealed on 5th day. So I've got a couple of turns I can just keep
Yeah,
supplying up,
yeah.
getting stocked up, just rinsing through this item deck.
Oh, nice.
Terrible event. It's also on the wrong character, so that's a problem. Double stake on
At this
Seward as
stage of a
well.
game, you're sitting there pretty happy with the cards you've already drawn.
Oh yeah,
You must be.
absolutely,
That's
absolutely.
crazy.
Yeah. Oh, there's no way.
Oh, that's
I'm not disappointed at all from this. No.
oh,
I mean,
oh dear.
depends on what happens here. This could be great or it could be swing and a miss. But still, I could eliminate some areas. I can't remember what I picked. Bari, that makes sense.
You're buying.
I did
Oh, not
15.
in Amsterdam and Bari.
No, I mean I don't often see Werecraft doing to Amsterdam, so I wasn't overly concerned about him doing that. And also I thought because maybe Nantes is quite a nice pick, so I thought maybe I might have gone Nantes 15. Maybe I might be looking to Wolf form potentially. And he is right. Drac events are on holiday. That's definitely true. There's not many
Yeah,
of
I
them
mean
being pulled
that's
out.
look at that.
That's yeah, a bit ridiculous. And there's a
And
white
it's
one.
still Hunter.
Yeah, 100 on top. I don't know how many. That's 2 white ones for certain. I don't know if there's a third one.
Yeah, I think this is 2 I've seen there.
Oh no, Mina got one. No, I've got my white ones out. Oh, yellow zeros or whatever the hell you want to call them. That hasn't stuck, by the way. The fact I just call them white ones, that hasn't stuck.
but they're not a bit white, but with night. Oh, jeez, here he goes. So at this stage, you're just, for those that you're just doing the kind of sitting with Van Helsing until you found him and then leave and just trade as you are, or would you ever be inclined to think, well, I mean, I'm going to move him to the mainland now just to get him close, or
I
do you wait until the fifth reveal and then move him?
I'd wait for fifth reveal. The reason why is because I've been caught out before. I think that's the game I was playing against Bugs, where Bugs was Dracula. I moved Van Helsing off the mainland too early, and then Bugs capitalized and just went to the UK anyway. So I want to wait first. It's not a case of just moving Van Helsing off. It's a case of what direction of Dracula going. If Dracula's going anywhere kind of northern and has the potential to then escape to the UK, I'll just keep Van Helsing there. If Dracula's clearly moving eastward or southern or whatever, then I'll move Van Helsing off. It just depends on the situation.
Even with CG in your hand?
Yeah, probably. Yes, I'd say so. Because there's I don't know what the Heavenly Host situation is right now. Yeah, I mean, yeah. It's more like as a deterrent. Like he's not doing anything bad. He's sitting there in a big city. He can keep supplying up. I know I've got a lot of good events anyway, but I can rinse through the deck. And if I get rid of bad events, well, that's fine, because then later in the game, when I need to draw good events, hopefully they'll be there for me. I've still got some empty slots, so I can, kind of plan around it. Wax Thunders could have been good. I could have revealed stuff earlier, potentially. But by the time I would have got it traded across, it would have been too late. It would have probably been revealed the same day as newspaper, or maybe like the night before, but that's essentially no difference.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah. Oh, there you go.
There's Lucy's Revenge, so I'm going to have to, I'm now thinking in my head, right, what order do I have to do this trade in? I have to get the thing off Godalming, then get it to Seward, trade Lucy's Revenge across. I'm just trying to think of all that first. Ditch the stake here. I'm trying to remember how I deal with this. I did ditch the stake. Huh.
Well, Seward's got two, so.
Yeah. So I was kind of like, nah. And also, a surprise crucifix isn't necessarily a bad play.
No. Well, we spoke. It's a good card. Three potential damage, so 2 damages and prevents a escape as missed as well. So.
Yeah, exactly.
The only thing is, you get hit with something conventional like bodyguards, then.
Yeah, but the fact he's got a knife in his hand, it's not like I'm not running around with just a crucifix. I've got.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. That's yes. Yeah.
Seward's got a problem because Seward has no conventional weapon, so that's a bit of an issue.
And he's holding 2 stakes. Yeah, it's the same position. I was in Werecraft where 2 stakes on Seward, and you're like, no, I don't need that. It's like 2 fast horses and 2 stakes on Seward, and you're stuck in Spain. You're like, this is gonna be a long.
It's got a long slog to get rid of it.
I would just burn stuff on that. I wouldn't even attempt to be like, oh well, I'll try and get up to. Mind you, if the white ones were out, I could probably fast horse up to. You'd have to move Van Helsing across then if that was the case.
Yeah, that's another option you can do. Yeah. So I know that's the thing. Godalming. Oh no, Seward's the one who doesn't have house horses. That's right. Seward doesn't have fast horses. I've got a good rail ticket, so I can kind of work around that. It all depends on. I mean, maybe in retrospect, maybe should have taken. I think Seward has sense of emergencies. That's why I didn't take the sense of emergency off.
You got chart carriage with.
Yeah, and then I discovered this. I'm like, well, bollocks. I checked 15 instead of checking 39. Yeah. I know. I mean, we've had games before where 39 has been quite a good play. That would have been much better for me if I discovered that with those high scouts. But oh well, it is what it is. You can't. I mean, 15 is pretty common for Dracula. I'm probably saying this now. I was probably trying to also work out where did Drac go after this, because I did 15, and I was trying to work out maybe on the timing. Did Dracula go back to 15? I mean, Dracula could have gone back to 15 after. It could have gone like 39, 8, and then went to 15 after I'd used Hired Scouts, because you don't often check the same space twice with Hired Scouts.
No, that's true. I guess the other option is, and I've done that on occasions, I've gone to 29, so even if Van Helsing's landed, he's landing on something.
Yeah, I've done that.
And then go on either sort of 12, 51 or 9. And you're assuming both Godalming and Mina are going to move across now, and then you can rule form past them. So
exactly, and Wolford for 51, even if it's not misdirected, that's a pretty devastating move. It can be really deadly.
Interesting.
I was kind of scared here. I was trying to work out. I was worried if I moved to 8, there could be like something like a fog in 8, and then I'm trapped and I can't get to Nantes. So that was a big decision. Why I was trying to work out, do I? But in the end, he went to Paris, but that's okay. There's very unlikely that he could have put bats on Paris, but
That's in there. Yeah.
the fact there's very unlikely that there'd be a fog. So.
And he was probably thinking that, because normally Seward would go to 8, so you're probably thinking, oh, he's gone past that. And now it's a case of Van Helsing needs to burn his excellent weather.
Yeah, because I need.
And again, if you place fog in 29, then all of a sudden, that's in Paris and fog in 29, Nantes is going to mature.
Well, but then if that's the case, then I'll be like, okay, well, I'll just take victories. He's burn a fog. Yeah, he gets 7 points, but then now I can just fully concentrate on this.
Yeah.
There are other things I'm realizing I could have maybe done here. I think I moved only Gadami to 38 because I wanted to do a psychic scan. Also, Mina doesn't have a conventional weapon either.
No.
So.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
But now in retrospect, what I should have maybe done was tried to roll, get Gadami to 60, because then I could have sense of emergency down to 39. A bit of a shame having to sense of emergency towards 2 other hunters, but if there was fog or whatever, then there was that possibility of maybe doing that. And then I've improved horse economy, which is good. I don't think I searched Paris here. I don't think I did. Because surely, if this is something that delays me, I want to get onto Nantes next turn. I need 2 hunters to get onto Nantes next turn.
Yeah. But then even if it's a fog, you needed a forewarned, so you would just Dracula just play fog whoever landed there first.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And then that's good. It frees up the other one to then pick up Paris or.
Yeah, exactly. But there's not much I can do about that. If that is generally what's happened, then oh well. But I can't do anything about it.
No, that's it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can only.
So I'm trading stuff around. They both got a free slot.
Yep. I guess having CG on Godalming makes sense with his 11 health. If he does jump into Drac or anything unexpected, he's going to escape there without dying.
Yep.
And losing CG, so.
In fact, influence wouldn't be effective against him either, in case there's a hoax or something.
Yeah.
So at this point, I still don't really know where he is, because he could have then gone to 15 and is now in 54, say. Especially now there's a wolf form coming out. I mean, he could be literally anywhere at this point, right? I have no idea. I mean, he could also be like in 44 at this point.
I mean, yeah, as you say, he could have gone Paris 24, 36 to Marseille, and now wolf form, could be
anywhere
back in Spain.
Yep.
So yeah, at this stage, you're relying on. I mean, you want a newspaper report ideally, which I'm sure the way the cards get put.
Like, I've got a lot to worry about here.
Newspaper, please.
I need to commit 2 hunters to Nantes. So that's 2 hunters taken away from what I wanted them to do, which is not ideal. But
he's got to play hide whatever it is. You can't just rely on.
So that's why he's forced. I mean, obviously, if this hide is something benign, then so now I've got an interesting choice here. I've got 2 stakes with Seward, but realistically, this hide is not gonna. And remember, Van Helsing doesn't have a stake. What I really needed was like a speedy telegraph here.
Yeah. Because now all he's got to do is escape as. I mean, obviously, unless you kill the new vampire in this battle, then that's fine, because he hasn't revealed the hide, so you just don't search it.
Yeah.
But the problem is, if he doesn't. Well, I think if he doesn't, you would just stake it anyway. So he's not, because he's not revealed the hide. Is that not an error? I reveal the hide first.
What he wants to do is he wants to get damage on me and then push me away. That's what he wants. And you see that I played my crucifix.
It's a big. I mean, it's huge. 3 points on that for a punch. For a mesmerize, and it cancels a mesmerize. It's pretty.
And he would never expect me to play crucifix, right? Who would play crucifix in that situation? I mean, okay, Seward might have it because he's got white space, but like realistically, that's not the thing I'm going to play in that situation. So now I'm trying to work out what do I do now, kind of thing.
Well, that's the only thing. Yeah, once you revealed it, it's very easy to work around it because you just don't play Fangs or Mesmerise with it, and you can punch and claws that doesn't do any damage to the Drac, to the vampire. So it is a good reveal when you get your 3 hits, but it's pretty much they're not going to fall for it twice unless they've got a bad hand where they have to, like now they would play Fangs on the premise that you don't have 2 crucifixes. But yeah, I think it's a we've said it's a good card. So now he's going to Mesmerise. You've punched again. That makes sense.
So at this point, clearly it looks like that I want to just try and kill this vampire straight up in combat.
Yeah.
Obviously now Crucifix is not going to work because he's burnt both Mesmerizers. He's not going to fang me when he knows I've got a Crucifix. He's going to do other stuff to me.
Of course, the thing is now 2 health. You don't want to waste a. If it was 4 health, would you be tempted to think, well, he's not going to fang. Do I just HH it, or do you just withdraw because of the fang, because the stakes in the hand, or if he moves you back, you leave the vampire in a weakened state for Van Helsing to jump in, because you wouldn't use Heavenly Host just to get rid of it on a, kind of on the offside that he does try and fang, but for him it's just a strength. Oh, you did. All right. Listeners, I haven't seen this.
Yeah.
I was just right. Okay. What was the thoughts behind that then?
Because I suddenly realized, right, okay, I know it's obviously, again, wasting Heavenly Host on a 2 health. So you see, he pays a strength, right? Because why? I mean, I'm never going to. Yeah, that's absolutely right. That's the kind of thing I would do. So the reason why is because I'm like, well, I've got this thing in combat. I've done 4 damage. I can kill this straight up. If this hide card is something like a bat, so it's getting pushed away, so he can't stake it. Van Helsing doesn't have a stake, and then I'm having to risk that Van Helsing goes in and Van Helsing actually manages to kill it. And if the cards don't work in my favor, Van Helsing won't be able to. Now, funny enough, it has fucking bodyguards.
Interesting.
And I have no. Now, if he had done that first, he would have known I had no weapons, and then that whole fight would have gone completely differently. Now, in retrospect, I didn't need to do that. I mean, actually, yeah, because now Seward's delayed, so I wouldn't be able to stake it at night. So
now Van Helsing would have to jump in.
Yeah, and he has no. He'd rely on combat, and if he just played strength all the time, I wouldn't have been able to use my stuff. So, this worked. This worked out fine.
I wonder if that's a misplay on his, because usually you would always play the hide card first.
Yeah, because you'd want to reveal a weapon or something, unless he thought, oh, I can get damage down, and then hit him with bodyguards. He won't be expecting the bodyguards.
Try and get you down to 4 damage and then bodyguard, and then it kills you. But then you have to assume that Seward had a conventional weapon. So
yeah,
you would normally I would have just thrown that down. The most you do 2 damage anyway. Then you get into a fight or what have you. But then, I guess, yeah. See, ideally, if you've got a hide card, you want to have like a fog or a bats.
Yeah.
As you say, you want to push the hunter away from them rather than you've done 2 damage on Seward. He stakes you at night. Job done. So. I guess it's taking damage, which means Seward, but then Seward will just heal up 2 at night. So
he's going to be delayed. He's going to be delayed. That's the problem. And now you see what's happened. Now I checked 15 just in case that he maybe went to 15 after Paris, and I've walked straight into him. So now that's a problem. Can I get out of fucking Van Helsing? No escape route. No planned ambush. Can I get out of this?
Mina's still kicking about with not a lot. I mean, Holy Circle's all well and good, but you've got to be in a fight for that to work. So,
and she's got no other. She's got no other weapon, right? So.
Oh, Wolves. Wolves does 4 damage, and rats, and
That could have been walking. I mean, Marseille could have been something. So now I've got this fight to deal with.
What's Van Helsing? He's got a knife and a crucifix.
Knife and crucifix.
He's a bit more tooled up then. The thing is with Drac at his stage, I was playing, you wouldn't want to throw fangs out because you don't, at this stage, you need to get, you want to get the full health back rather than just 1. So you wouldn't risk a fangs at this stage. I'd be trying to mesmerise. So again, the crucifix might be, I think that's what you're probably deducing there.
Yeah, I'm thinking, like, what's he like you to play?
Probably think Van Helsing's going to try and escape. I'll play mesmerise, you then do 3 damage.
Exactly.
Tries to fang, you've got the knife to counter, so then that goes, and then you're stuck with crucifix, and then it's a case of, right, if he throws plotting down at the right time, if you dodge, then
that's a problem. Yeah. So I am playing a risky game here. It'd be great if I could just escape right off the bat. I don't know if I'll be able to.
And I think I might be wrong. I think Van Helsing drew a holy circle earlier, and
He burnt it. Someone burnt it. Yeah, I can't remember who it was. I think it might have been Van Helsing, or maybe it
Muno
was.
kept hers.
Because I think Godalming got it, and I shifted it across to Mina. Yeah.
Right.
In retrospect, I normally like conventional weapon. I don't like running around with no conventional weapon, and this is why.
Really?
And then he plays fucking claws first, and this crucifix does nothing now.
Yeah.
Very well played on his part, and I'm now raging at this point because I'm like, I could have escaped. Yeah, I would take 4 damage, but I could have escaped. So that's a problem.
You see, this is a better commentary for you to do because you know the result. So now you're not just going to have your immediate raw emotions throwing stuff around. You can kind of, you can go, oh yeah, I remember I was really annoyed at that. But you can say it in a he's very restrained and controlled. There's like, if you heard him at the time in the game.
That's right. Yeah, this is probably the one occasion I was like, oh meh. I was very meh about everything. But normally,
You've escaped there. So again, if Drac was inclined, you kind of think, right, do I do a double claws and hope that you don't have your.
I think in
red double claws would have killed Van Helsing then because you don't have great strength.
I was hoping to bank on the fact that he didn't have it, but then maybe in red I should have punched there to stop the mesmerize. And now I'm trying to think: is he going to fang me? Is he going to claw me?
Yeah.
Is he going to? If he plots, then I'm in big trouble. So do I just try and play a knife? So if he plots, okay, he plots me, but at least I get damage onto him.
I guess the other thing you could be concerned is, okay, is it have you got the same combos here? Have you got Heavenly Host as well as Crucifix? You're trying to put me off fanging you with Crucifix. You do Heavenly Host take 4 damage, but if I had Strength, I would play Strength now anyway, because it's going to, bar you dodging, it's going to do 2 damage.
Yeah.
And then I can claw you, and then
so I think I'm
die before whatever you played came off. So.
I think I'm doing this because I think he's going to plot me. I've got a gut feeling he's going to try to plot me. He's going to think I'm going to play dodge or crucifix, and he's going to plot against it. I think that's my rationale here, but then again, I agree. Yeah. Like, strength is such a good card here because it counters pretty much everything I have apart from dodge. Escaping, that's not a problem because I've already just played escape. So I guess the only problem would be if I have Heavenly Host, but then, you kept me in the fight. Yeah, Dracula will take 4 damage, but then he's still in the fight. So yeah. I'm trying to, I can't remember, maybe I was overthinking this combat a bit. And then again, now he plays claws again, but like, if I dodged, I would have lived, but at the same time, I don't know. Yeah, it wasn't a great combat. I did a really good combat against the new vampire, and now this one did not go well.
Oh, wow, Van Helsing.
Yeah, Van Helsing bites the dust.
That's a good reason, good way of having CG on Godalming, so...
Yeah. And I can't remember what exactly Van Helsing had. I think Van Helsing had a renewed vigor, and that was it.
The only thing I would say with that is, I think when the hunters, I think it should be, instead of increasing with the amount of despair, it should be a set. If you kill a hunter at any time in the game, it
fixed amount.
So if you kill them in the third week, it's 4, 3 damage or whatever. So they just say like regardless, because they are, again, it's kind of. It's great for Dracula. It's great, but you only got 2 points from that. It should be like, well, any hunter you manage to, which is it's an achievement to kill a hunter.
True.
It should be like, okay, well, it's going to be 3 fixed or 4 fixed. One of the 2 that's it done. Then there'll be more, onus on the hunters kind of going, shit, I could die here. Whereas at the moment you've gone, I've lost my items. I've got my tickets. It's only 2 IDS, and then you're going to be in Spain or Rome. Madrid or Rome,
I guess the counter that would be, I think maybe thematically, because Dracula's getting influence every week, then is more influential if a hunter dies. In terms of like thematically, I don't mean in terms of like gameplay, but like thematically. Mm-hmm. But also like then the counter would be, yeah, sure, in terms of points, Dracula's not getting so much benefit, but early in the game, especially the way we play, where the hunters are constantly stocking items and more importantly events early on.
Yeah.
Then yeah, I've lost 2 points, but more importantly, I've lost my fucking renewed vigor. That's like way more. That's more important to me than Van Helsing died. That losing that event was critical, and
yeah.
So that was a huge price to pay. And I don't know, am I going to get the second one? I mean, I could, but I've had games with none, so that might be it. That might be my renewed vigor gone, and a lot of the strategy with fast horses relies around. Right, I mean, obviously not coming reliant on renewed vigor. If you get renewed vigor, you have to use it wisely. And the fact that I've now fucking lost it, yeah, I haven't lost CG, I've got sense of emergency, all that stuff, but the fact I've lost that, that's a big pain. And I lost Lucy's Revenge. I mean, nah, that we can kind of work around. But renewed vigor, that's a huge. I mean, obviously, I don't know if in the discard pile he sees that. I mean, I think he saw that. He would be jumping if you could see as Dracula that it was a renewed vigor. That was you as a Dracula player. You're jumping for joy at that point. Yeah, fine. I've killed his 6 health vampire, but he's been able to kill a renewed vigor, and he's got 2 points on me, and I'm not going to waste time supplying up. And you see, yeah, I'm going a little bit aggro.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, I think going back to that, I think it's one of those where, yeah, you're right. It's kind of cards were revealed, and obviously, again, I'm just trying to think. When you die, are the cards revealed to Drac, or is it just shown
I
as?
think they are. I mean, I think they.
Are.
I think they should be revealed. I think that should be a good thing for Dracula. And like, he's telling me like, oh, no fog to throw down. I think I might have said in comments like, you don't have to tell me that, but maybe it's just maybe he's generally telling the truth, or it's like mind games again. I didn't like
Mind games, yeah.
Mind games. I don't care what it is. If you got a fog, oh well, that's fine. Then you've used a fog on me. Do I escape this time? Yeah, I do. Learn my lesson. Likes the claws. Claws are very impactful because you don't expect them. As long as if they don't escape early, but they try to punch you, you feel really good as Dracula. If you do a claws at night and they punch you, it's like, oh, go for it. Go for it.
No, Sarah said you had no mez or fangs because you had reckless, you assume. Because even if you escape and they've got fangs, they're still getting the point, which is what to do as a reckless, because now you stake him. He's done 2 damage, which again to Godalming is not too detrimental. And it's a shame if reckless doesn't have the vampire, it kind of takes away its main reason for being there.
I find things now because Seward, because of items, had no weapon, so I don't want to move Seward into this situation where he's low on health because he couldn't heal yesterday. Into a reckless, I'm taking damage, and then he knows I've only got a crucifix and nothing else. So I had to supply there, even though I didn't want to. And I'm now thinking, let's try and get Mina into this fight.
Okay.
Reason,
Holy Circle.
that's the reason. That's the only reason. What I've realised is, right, because I've got Lucy's Revenge, so I can't stop the escape as a bat. So how about if I get Mina into this fight, maybe do a little bit of damage, like, a knife or a heavenly host and a punch or something, and then I Holy Circle out. So then the escape as bat is completely cancelled. That was my thinking behind this one. Getting Mina in rather than losing yet another fight, or he escapes as bat, which is arguably worse. If I can keep him kind of in this situation where he's not getting far away from me, then that's good. But obviously, I'm committing really hard to this. Paris has to get checked. All the stuff after Paris has to get checked as well. And he didn't reveal 15.
This is interesting because, yeah, as you say, you come away from this, you face Drac next. You found Drac. He's on Bordeaux as well. Yeah, this is his encounter, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. So you're both, Godalming and her, are going into it with no weapons after this, bar the Holy Circle to both escape from, as you say, to remove the escape as bat. But then
Godalming has weapons, and he has a rifle, and I think he has a heavenly host.
Oh right, yeah, that's
so like
he's got a stake as well, but yeah.
That's why I went aggressive with him. If I didn't have good solid items with him, I wouldn't have gone for this. But then I probably did the sense of emergency without actually thinking like, wait, how am I going to get out of this later? Because Seward can't join. If Seward had other stuff, I would have just charged him with Seward. I wouldn't have cared. But I'm like, oh crap! Now I have to move meetings. I need to just Holy Circle them out. Obviously, he doesn't know at this point.
Yeah, that makes sense because you do that straight away, and then he's wolfed, so he can only it's limiting where he can go back to.
Yeah.
He can't do. He can't misdirect on Claremont. He's got the wolf form there, so he's really only he can only go to Santander or.
Exactly. Yeah, and then the fact
sea. You can go to sea.
Yeah, and the fact that wolf form's on the trail, and all this stuff.
You picked up Rufus, didn't you? So.
I did pick up Rufus. Yep. So there are some options here. So I'm just trying to work out exactly. I just need to make sure as long as they don't end up on full health, and they can't get hit by claws. But I've got the Holy Circle, I can dodge, so I've got a little bit of leeway here. I don't want to take too much damage, because otherwise I'm going to be really far behind, and that's going to be a problem.
I guess the risk is you've got as well, you don't want Mina to get caught with plotting and then she doesn't have a chance to use her Holy Circle and she gets killed. And then Godalming's stuck in there.
Yeah.
That's always a thought regarding that, isn't it? I mean, he's on 14 health. He took no damage from the Van Helsing fight. There's a pretty good bit, and there's no Aggie in place. So it's a decent position for Drac to be in.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the second. This is just into the second week, so Dracula has to fight 3 rounds.
Yeah.
Whereas the Van Helsing one was just still inside the first week, so he could escape his bat from the second. But he prioritized killing Van Helsing, then escaping his batting, which was quite interesting. I mean, it worked out for me, but you burn a renewed vigor. That's maybe worth it. Depends if he can get out of this or not.
Well, this is true. This is true. I wonder if it had been different where he hadn't wolf formed to Clermont-Ferrand, and then whether he would have escaped his bat with Van Helsing then, because that would have given him that plus his wolf form to get away. But as you say, it worked out great because it burnt the renewed vigor, which, as you say, Dracula's going to be happy with that.
We're now trading 4 damage each here, because I mean, I wish I'd played rifle, because I would have just been a perfect. I mean, I wouldn't have done as much damage, but I wouldn't have taken as much. So
yeah.
I mean, I've used the Heavenly Hose. I got damage onto Drac. Like, that's not a bad thing. But now I'm kind of wide with Van Helsing for Godalming, because if he gets clawed again, he dies. But I've got a rifle, so I think, well, let's play the rifle. I'm completely safe. Godalming can't die.
I thought you meant because the Holy Circle only kicks in. Yeah, so Godalming, yeah, I guess, yeah. So Drac can do damage to, like, with a strength. He can take away Godalming's weapon and take him down to 1.
Yeah, but then Mina kicks in.
Why you didn't dodge Godalming and then just play Holy Circle with Mina, and then that way,
on the off chance,
damage and you're keeping.
On the off chance that he plays claws against me, so I can get a little bit of extra damage down, he might be greedy and think, oh, I can claw. I mean, the chance of having 2 claws is unlikely, but you never know.
Right, okay.
I find that, like, if the weapon gets broken with Godalming, I was being a little bit reckless here. This is not my normal playstyle, by the way. This is not how I normally play.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, normally it'd be a case of you've done 4 damage, get them both out of there.
Yeah, I agree.
Because he can't go anywhere. He can only go one of 2 locations. I guess the advantage for that is that Van Helsing's still in hospital, so he hasn't been able to tool up yet. So you'd want to try and get there as quick as you can to start doing some damage.
So I can't remember what he plays. Does he play? I see, like, he plays a plotting here because he thought maybe I would dodge. So I mean, he didn't know I got a Holy Circle, but the fact I get 2 extra damage onto him.
Yeah.
Like, that's a decent fight. That's 7 damage onto Drac with 2 hunters, and one of them doesn't have a weapon at all. So that's in normal circumstances that's a good trade, really. I mean, I took a lot of damage with Godalming, but still that went pretty well for me.
Well, bear in mind you took the damage on the sense of emergency first anyway, so it wouldn't have been this bad had you passed Horsetail or whatever.
Correct.
So you already took 3 damage just to get there. 2 damage already. So.
And then I'm out because now his plotting is useless because the Holy Circle's out of it. And he wasn't expecting that. That was.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was thinking at this point. This is not my normal playstyle, by the way, for people watching. I'm far more conservative. I don't normally play like this. So, yeah, I don't know what I was on this day. I was clearly not myself. But I was like, oh, let's do something.
It's working for you.
But that's the thing, and also like, if I can throw him off a bit and realize, oh crap, he's now playing really aggressive against me. This is not how he normally plays. We're gonna have to be really careful. But still, I have done a lot of damage to him, but at the same time, we've got to think about it sort of objectively. Sword's low health, and he's now got a weapon, so that's good. So that he can function. Godalming needs a supply. Mina definitely needs a supply. Van Helsing died, lost renewed vigor. Paris hasn't been dealt with. The 2 things after Paris haven't been dealt with, and I actually don't know. Oh god, there's a break now. Great, fantastic. See, I'm all over the place. That's probably my tea going through me. Oh my god, Jesus.
TMI. Normally you just say away from keyboard, but no, he's like, just to let you know, and then you come back and go, all good. It was a safe bathroom trip.
Didn't meet any creatures or dragons on the way or anything. All safe, yeah.
no complications at that stage. So lovely.
No.
Like, and now Werecraft's sitting there thinking, right, okay, I can move to 1 of 2.
Yeah, that's the key thing. Does he
And the
move?
7 health again. The 7 health kind of negates going to C.
Yeah, with
That's
Rufus,
come down to 5. And
and
it's like, where are you going to go? And you got CG, so it's
I mean, bear in mind, I've used 2 heavenly hosts, so CG is nowhere near as effective now. That is a big disadvantage with this. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, realistically, am I going to be playing CG this early? Probably not. So, I mean, I could have maybe done some stuff here. I could have maybe played CG, whoever had CG, into 54 to force him into 47. But I'm like, I don't think so. I'd rather just keep it like this. But I got a lot of stuff to deal with. This is the
yeah,
thing, and this is the problem as the hunters. Like, you can get like really quick wins like this, where you can just go all gun ho. But then, look at what I'm neglecting. I'm neglecting, is what we were talking about with Werecraft in our discussion earlier. You've only got so many actions, right? You can't do
yes,
everything. So
yeah.
I've opted to go after Dracula. Okay, I didn't expect Van Helsing to die the way he did. That was just a check. I did not expect him to be. In retrospect, I should have played safer. I should have found out the location after Paris and work out what direction he was going in. Now I kind of worked out, right, okay, he must have gone to 51-24. So now I'm trying to work out what do I do here. But then realistically, I'm like, I can't go after him again because I'm not tooled up. I'm low
No,
health. It's just
no.
asking for trouble. So now this is where you go. No, no, no. I've made like my big quote unquote play. Let's just sit back, supply, get tooled up again, and then go for it. Seward's gonna have. I mean, he's only got 5 health. He's gonna have to go and deal with Paris, which is right pain in the ass, but it just is what it is. I mean, he's got Vampire Lair, so he can maybe deal with something. I,
Oh, nice.
I mean, that's a nice pull to get. And I get a rifle now, so now Mina's tooled up again. So now I'm a little bit more confident. Okay, if I heal up a couple of turns, now I can start going after him. Actually, Jenny can't
I
remember where
guess the
he
good
went
thing now is he
next.
could have gone Santander, throw down fog. Nobody's picked up full warns yet, and then he can sit there and feed, get some of his health back. And then he's got there, so that'll stay.
Yep.
Which means you can mature it and throw a roadblock down, so you can block your route to 47.
Yep.
Um,
Or to 24, because that's where the 51, because that's where the next encounter is. Potentially, or he could have gone 24, 36, 15, I suppose. Oh no, Mina was there. That's impossible. Yeah, 51, 24. So now he can. So I now know, shit, okay, the thing after Paris is definitely maturing, because I've used Sense of Emergency, so I can't get over there. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I can't even get the retarded carriage either. So now I'm thinking, right, okay, something else is going to mature. Do I try to stop the thing after that? Am I able to? Do I go after Drac at this point before things start maturing? But then, how aggressive can I realistically be with Gadal, Meng, and all this sort of thing? So even though we had this really aggressive start, which is very unusual for my matches, now I'm kind of like in this awkward situation where, depending on what these things are that start maturing, what I'm able to stop and what I can't stop, this could turn a little bit sour quite quickly. Also, 15's not been revealed, by the way. So I've got to deal with that. Whatever it may be.
Yeah. You've got the stake on Mina to get rid of the reckless here, so that's fine. But yeah, as you say, you want to get Claremont checked first, but of course she's now used the Holy Circle. So if it's a reckless or a new vampire there, her health is. Yeah, it is. It's kind of like I guess it's a good advert for Drac players who think, oh well, that's the game over, I'm fucked, because now there's so many other things that all the focus was on fighting Dracula, but now all of a sudden there's a full trail of items events to be cleared, which gives Drac more than enough time to, unless he goes to Toulouse, but.
That was I've now realized that was a really poor choice to go to 54. I think that was a really stupid move, because if I'm going to deal with the vampire in Bordeaux, I'm now going to have to move someone back with a stake. That was really stupid. Why I should have done was That was such an oversight. That's me playing really poorly. I should search and then supply. Like, who cares if he's going? He can't wolf form, so he can't get that far away from me. So now I'm gonna have to waste like 2 actions pretty much. One going back to Bordeaux and then sticking and then supplying again. I could have just avoided all this problem. Godalming the next day could have just gone to 36. And if he's not in 36, then okay, he's not east. Then that's fine. And I'm having to discard
Well, the fact that you've got 2
states.
stakes on Seward, you can when you get. I guess you can move them. You got your renewed vigor back, which is handy. But I mean, you can even start moving Godalming, and then you can. Well, this would be handy, Marcy. Yeah.
Yeah,
and
but
then you can move Seward, down to there, and you've still got Godalming and Mina chasing him, and Seward can get rid of that vampire. But it just depends on.
Yeah.
To do that, you're then these other 2 items are. It's
Yep.
almost like, well,
What are they
you've got to let them
for?
mature, really, haven't you?
But then, what I've realized there is just that I mean, obviously I didn't know local rules would come out, but hindsight's a great thing. But like, I should have staked the vampire, supplied, and then I would have been able to get the local rumors most likely in Bordeaux, so it would have revealed Toulouse for me. And I go, right, okay, then all I have to do is just get Godalming to 36, and then I'll tell me if he's going east or if he's going into Spain, like to Barcelona, and he's going to go Mediterranean and go somewhere else. The whole order of this play is completely wrong. I'm really annoying myself now watching it that this is being played so poorly. Not great at all. Really poor play. Not a great advert for how to play hunters. That's really just poor decision making. And then now I'm thinking, right, okay, so who's going to deal with 8 with a stake because I need to deal with it, and then who's going to deal with 15? If Seward goes to deal with 15, who's going to deal with 24?
Yeah.
And I realized, because of the wolf form, as the wolf formed to 15, so he went 9, 51. So now I know the fact it got revealed, but now it's a mob. And this is actually really similar to something that you had in one of your games against Quincy, where you got a mob in France, and it's hitting 3 of my hunters, and they're already low health. Well, I mean, 2 of them are. So this is just a terrible situation. In terms of it's not killing anybody, but I'm actually going, oh crap, I'm having to lose items. What do I do? Do I lose items or do I heal? In retrospect, with Seward, I should probably just keep all the items because I can heal faster than I can supply. So I shouldn't really be ditching anything with Seward. He's not going to die here. So really, I shouldn't be doing this. I mean, I got Mystic Research, so I could probably do night supplies if I'm in a big city. But then if I'm not in a big city, so that was. I mean, Crucifix doesn't have much value now because I've revealed it. Yeah, so
it's great when it comes off in the mob, especially when you're hitting 3.
Yeah.
And of course, it's funny because Brussels, albeit isn't in France, but in the game it is in the boundary. It's a nice one that you're like, oh, hang on.
It is really good. I mean, the good thing is I did get the second renewed vigor with Mystic Research, but still I'm looking at this going like, oh my god, I've got 2 vampires, and now everyone is so low health, they can't walk into anything, because I haven't got a fucking clue. So I'm like, shit, right, so that means the thing after, so that's going to be 51, that's also going to mature. And that's terrible news. So now I've had 3 things mature, and that's just not what you want. And then, like, do I now... What I do with Seward, I can't go to 15 if it's a fighter vamp. I don't think it's a fighter vamp because it would have been revealed to me to be a fighter vamp earlier. But do I supply now, heal, then move the next day? I'm really caught in like awkward situations here. This is not what you want. It's kind of what we were talking about before. As soon as the hunters are having to make really awkward decisions, then as Dracula, you're winning.
Absolutely.
Regardless of how many points you get.
I mean, it could be one of those when he went to 15, it was a case of it is a fighter one, you just don't reveal it because he's worked out the stakes. Yeah. So he might, if he reveals it now, then if it's not, then it's a aristocratic or but yeah.
So now I'm just destined. Right, 51's going to mature. I can't stop it. I can't get to it. I could get to it with Seward, but I can't get there safely, or I can't then get back to Bordeaux and all this stuff. So let's just cut my losses. I'll try and deal with the rumor token, deal with Bordeaux because I know they're definitely vampires, then deal with the rest later. But yeah, this is a very shoddy play, really shoddy. I'm not happy with it at all. This is a bad mistake watching this.
Yeah, this is meant to be your I think the other good thing for Drac's position is that 2 more days and Wolf forms back. So
yeah, And then
That's a nice position. If he can get down, oh nice.
And there's a fucking bats there now, and I'm like, oh god, now she's gonna get
He's got
pushed into
layers
something,
and
delayed. Yeah, this is just
yeah,
terrible. He could push me into Marseille, and there could be like fog there, so she's trapped, nobody else can get through, and he's escaping to goodness where. Yeah, this is really poor. After a really good aggressive start, and he gets a host mature, which, you know, it's not game breaking at this point, but still, like, the fact he can just have something in his back pocket and just hold on to it, that's really bad.
and that's, I mean, that's deserving. I mean, it's difficult for Drac to get that, and really, again, you're right. It's come down to just hunters kind of jumping all over it, as you say. You're. I mean, I still think that it was the right move to jump on Drac with 2 hunters. You've done the damage. He's not been able to feed. He's still sitting on 7 health. But as you say, now, yeah, it was a case of now the Hawks could have been. I mean, Sue's got 2 stakes, so he could have jumped on the Hawks, not been delayed, got rid of it.
Yeah.
You know, he could have gone the mob and gone, nah,
Yep.
I'll get rid of pistol. So that could have been prevented. But now you've still got to deal with Bordeaux, Toulouse, Marseille.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah,
And now the problem is,
no,
Godalming doesn't have a stake, so Seward's going to have to now go to Bordeaux, which is not the right direction. I want to be going to other places. Godalming's still only 4 fucking health, so he's just like... I'm sitting here like, do I really double heal? I don't know what... I don't really know what I'm searching for here. I must be honest, I actually don't know what I'm looking for. I'm doing this because the only reason I did that is because I know Seward is coming onto my space, so I can trade one around.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason I did that. In any other situation, I wouldn't keep 2 heavenly hosts like that. It's also, I'm like, well, I'm in a really bad situation, so I need to try and maximize my CG play later. I've got a day,
I mean,
so
yeah. I mean, I guess keeping your heavily host though would benefit your CG. You know, if you burn a heavily host, then you're reducing the 1. Plus, if he's gone to the boot, that's revealed. For example, you know, if Hired Scouts was revealed, and you see that he's in Florence now, and tonight you play Consecrated Ground with your heavily host, and that's it. You know, that's 5 health and 2 damage, and he can't. That's game. You know, so
absolutely.
And then all of a sudden, all these other trail cards are null and void.
I don't know if you. I mean,
Rats is good.
Yeah, I didn't really need to reveal the rifle because again, it's a lair, so it doesn't matter. I don't know if you saw what I discarded with Seward.
Yeah. I mean, I guess at this stage, yeah, okay, fair enough. He's not, you know his trail. I mean, it would be good to kind of go, right, okay, well, look, do we need, what's in Toulouse? Have a look. Do I need to go get it? No, I don't.
Yeah.
You know, that's the deduction side of the wax cylinders is just as important as the analysis side.
I guess I maybe favourite. I mean, I don't even have Hypnosis, but I thought maybe if a Hypnosis comes out, I might need to play a Hypnosis with Speedy Telegraph. I don't know. It feels like I'm watching another player. I don't really know what I'm doing. This is very weird.
Then Van Helsing's still be sitting in Madrid just stocking up that he's not made any move. So
no,
that's interesting because you know he's not gone to Spain.
Yeah, I think like, the reason why
do you start moving?
I can't really go anywhere until Bordeaux's cleared because I don't want to walk into this new vampire.
That's fair.
If I got a 3-2, I'd rail up to Paris, but I can't. So I think Paris now might be a lair, but that's fine. I don't know why I keep supplying. I mean, that's nice.
Yeah, search is good. Has he gone up there, or has he gone to Florence? Yeah, I think he's going to try and get into the boot.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to work out.
Now he's in Rome, so CG's redundant again.
Yeah, CG's useless, unless he hid somewhere along the way, but it's very unlikely he would be doing that. And now he's bought himself time.
You could have found out with wax cylinders, couldn't you? But, you know.
Yeah, very true, very true.
This again, yeah, I mean, this is the other thing. You've now given him another chance to get another fangs on.
Yeah, and that's terrible. That's terrible play. You can't keep giving Dracula free opportunities just to get bites in. That's just terrible. I know I've got Vampire Lair, but even still, this is just very grim all round play.
The Vampire Lair is going to you're losing that stake after tonight, so then you have to find who's got a stake, They need to start restocking again. So, and then
Yeah.
you got to get Vampire onto that person. I think, as we said before in the tier list, it's only 2 damage, and it's a case of, well, if they're sitting on 12, it's irrelevant. It doesn't
Hmm.
stop. It doesn't stop Fury Dracula if it's that stage of the game. Um, so yeah, it's interesting to watch. I mean, it's one of these, isn't it? I mean, obviously, there's a you guys always have these kind of good games as well. But I think it's quite interesting from an initial start where it was like, oh, could be dodgy for Drac.
Lots
He's
of
managed
action.
to.
It's
Yeah, I think a combination of his movement and your maybe
lack
incorrect
lack of movement.
decisions,
Yeah.
yeah, has kind of opened up a
And that
gap for him.
that mob really hit me hard because I took so much damage
Yeah,
from
yeah,
it, and I'm like, oh crap, I'm having to use all these turns to like. It feels bad to day heal. That's the thing. But maybe I should, instead of supplying, I just go no, just day heal twice and then go, rather than taking twice as long to heal only at night.
yeah. I've done that. I don't have any issues with doing that because again, otherwise, like you say, you're delaying yourself by, especially if it's not suited. If you've got 2 health and Godalming and you're only healing at night, then what stage do you then decide you've got enough health to move somewhere else?
Yeah.
Because going to something else, and next minute it's like, oh, you just get hit again, and it's like, oh, that was just wasted. Doing a double during the day and night, especially when you've got a full hand. Like now, we could, you're heavily host. You could be like, right, I'll just do a day and night, and now I can do another one with Seward being there.
Hmm.
You can now start to that health back if you were doing it, but it's easy enough when you're watching it retrospectively because you know what
Yeah.
the story is. But
It's now so
it's
awkward too because like Seward can't move from border the next day because he's used up his only ticket, so now he's going to have to stay put, get a ticket, heal. It's just so many things are wrong with this. And then like I've got holy bullets but no gun to go with it, so I'm going to have to get rid of that at some point. I've got dogs but I don't want dogs. Yeah, I'm trading Vampire Lair here to Van Helsing just so then he later can trade it to someone who gets a stake. But so I gave away a point from that Reckless, and that should never have happened. That point should never have happened. And I have given him now a big lead in terms of like now I've got this whole trail I've got to deal with all over again after getting him. And
yeah,
like he's only running around with half health. Like this should be a really vulnerable position for Drac, and he hasn't even fed yet. And as a Dracula player, you'll be really happy at this situation. You just got this long trail to deal with. Yeah. Yeah.
it's a difficult. I mean, obviously, and of course, Raggy you did a search with and burnt it, so you don't have to worry about if the hunters are that far away from it. I mean, even if he's now Harry, the hunters are that far away. It's like, all right, I don't have to worry about it. The only thing would be again if you think of the Dracula. Let's assume you've got CG, you go to the Adriatic, and it's like, okay, well, I've got Wolfform back now, so that's covered.
Yeah.
So,
He gets
if it's
Sophia
played, I
and
can
he's
jump
pretty
down on
safe.
here and then Wolfform in. So yeah,
Yeah.
and then head towards Castle Drac. I think that's the other thing is, as a Dracula players, don't be if you're struggling for health, go home.
Yeah.
They can't play CG on Klausenberg or Galatz either. So
No.
you've
So
got, you're not going to get trapped in there. Especially where the hunters are now. You could get into Castle Dracula, heal up 5, then feed, heal up 7, sorry, 8, back at full health, and still get out before they even get anywhere near it.
yeah, this is such a bad situation. All the hunters are clumped up on one side of the map.
Yeah.
This is not how you want it to be played. That was just me. That even though I did get all that damage onto Dracula, my game would have probably been way better if I'd have just stayed, like, kept Godalming, just created a net around him and forced him into a certain position, and I would have
In
not let.
Marseille, yeah, you would have forced him. Yeah, you would have forced him into Spain, really, because if you'd been at Marseille, 15 was on the trail. If he'd gone to Toulouse and you stayed, he would have had to have then gone 48 or 4. And Van Helsing's in Madrid. So, but I think let's not lose sight. He did 7 damn. He's down to 7 health. So,
But then, was it worth it? I don't know. Like, my
7
gut feel.
health and you lost renewed vigor. You've got an RV back, so that's pretty much nil and void. That's balanced each other out. You've got a renewed vigor back, which was the main concern at the time. So you've got that back. So that's kind of like, yeah, okay. I think
On balance.
on
Yeah.
side of that, you've kind of done 7. You've done 8 damage to him, 7 because he wolfed. You've got renewed vigor back, and the only thing now is, as you say, it's the delayed it's the actions after that initial battle that are getting you down slightly with it.
No, I was going to say, I was going to say this is really interesting. We were talking about it in the conversation with Werecraft, the potency of desecrated soil, and the fact that I'd used 2 heavenly hosts. Even though he wasn't to know I'd get those 2 heavenly hosts back, but look now, Van Helsing doesn't have one, so he doesn't need to feed. He's going to get 3 health back for free right now.
Oh, yes.
And the encounter cards. So that's actually really well played. Just a really good desecrated soil use, and that's actually really risky because on another day, I think, well, there's only 2 places he could be, 47 or 54. Let's all jump into 54, and he's got nothing fighting there to defend himself with. But he played the risky game, and it's worked out for him because now he hasn't had to feed. He's got as far away from me as possible, and now you can see me with my mouse cursor. I'm kind of thinking to myself, he's probably sitting in Bari right now, and now I'm going to have to think about crap. I have to try to get to. I need to go to the east. Is he going to try and go around the other way and head to Mediterranean and then we'll form back when I've darted across all the other side?
I guess weighing it up for Drac, when he went to 54, Van Helsing was still, he was still at hospital.
And had no way to get there. No.
Nowhere to get there. Seward was up in 39, struggling with health because the mob had hit. So, even if they had all jumped, it would have been on still. He was on 7 health right enough, so it might have been worth. I mean, Mina had nothing, so yeah, I guess on the balance of it, it was an educated risk, if you like.
Yeah, but, definitely.
All it would take though is if one of your guys had a heroic leap.
Yeah, and then he's jump on him running around with 2 health, and you're like, oh no.
Yeah. So it is risky for that, but no, the desecrated certainly worked. That's him now. That's him back up to 10 health, and as you say, he's not used feed. He's not had to delay his travel. The trail is full. I mean, the trail has not been empty since it was revealed, which is good play on Werecraft. Now, as you say, yeah, you're kind of like, right, so where's... by the time you find out where he is, he can be...
and I'm just assuming he's gone down into the... He could be up in, 7 by now. I'm just assuming he's gone into the boot, because I haven't checked 24, and now... then Godalming, the one with the horse, is now delayed, so that's all worked out really nicely for him. Yeah. So, I mean, the game is in the balance still, because I've got a lot of events on my side, but at the same time, I've lost so much time by doing this, and really, when I think about, we talked about it earlier, like the... What's it called? Like opportunity cost and all this sort of thing. Yes, I think, now looking back on this, the damage I did to him, I don't think it was worth it, really. Oh dear, sorry. Throat's dying on me. I should have just engaged in my normal way of playing hunters and just supply up, just make sure the trail's dealt with. Ignore Dracula. Dracula can do what he wants until the end of the 2nd week, 3rd week, and at that point I'll be in a position where I've caught up with him. I've got CG, I've got renewed vigor, I can do all these really cool things. We've given way much time to him. I mean, others might disagree that could have worked out differently for me, but I wasn't really tooled up for it. If Mina had walked in with something a little bit more potent, obviously I know the Holy Circle was a good play because I was able to get out of there, but...
Yeah, it's just there was nothing... And I think, that was the only thing about it was if Mina had staked Bordeaux, that would have then freed up. That would have been a different scenario. Because now Drac's like, shit, they're already going to start moving on me now. Because Seward had to leave Paris, whereas he could have used a ticket, he could have then got down to cover Italy off. So that's, I don't think the combat was...
But it's everything after that.
Afterwards,
Basically, the entire 2nd week was just dreadful hunter play. It couldn't.
It's just trying to find that nucleus when it went wrong. But the combat, I think, you took damage off him, which is what it's about. And at that stage, he couldn't go to sea because he's going to take 2 more with Rufus in play. He only had 2 locations to go to.
And then the risk. But if I discovered that Toulouse was a heavenly host, I would have then gone, oh well, okay, I can just move on with somebody else once I've got the heavenly host, and I would have been able to deal with it with Godalming because he had a heavenly host. He would have got more encounter cards, but then he stops healing, and then he's still stuck on 7 health. He has to commit to a feed. Okay, now I know he's gone into Italy, so that's fine, but still, I'm so far behind. The whole 2nd week was just really weird play in terms of just moving around in the wrong order. And that can happen. If you're not fully focusing, this can just really happen. Or you get stressed or lose focus or whatever it is. It can just happen.
Oh yeah, the game can spiral away from you as quick as I've used that term many a time where I've taken taken defeat from the jaws of victory. And it's vice versa because again, it's like, oh, this looks. Oh, hang on a minute, there is something here. But yeah, it's you've got to be on point every time you play this. You've got to be able to.
Yeah.
And that's a good use of the fog there
Yeah.
again. Forewarned wasn't on that, so.
But the fact that he didn't ambush me, he waited for me to search because now Van Helsing's stuck
Yeah.
there for longer, and then that blocks that passage. So only realistically Mina's going to be able to get in. We're going to have to go around the long way via Venice. That's all just really good for me. Really good for him. Yeah, there's no taking away. I mean, I'm obviously really annoyed by my performance. I mean, I said beforehand I wasn't feeling great that day, but then that's entirely on me. I could have not done this match. And there's nothing against Werecraft. Werecraft is playing really well at this point and has really taken
Yeah, I mean,
advantage with my mistakes, and that's nothing against him at all. That's not, I'm not trying to, I'm not going to sit here going, oh, he's only winning at this point because of me. No. He played the game. He played what he had to do, and yeah, it was a really rough start for him, but has got a really, I mean, we don't know what this hoax thing was that he picked up. It could be, I mean,
that's he's picked up as well. Yeah, exactly.
Goodness knows what that is, right? And that could really then flip the game later on. And like we're halfway through the third week now. Hunters do not want to be in this position. Hunters do not want to be in a position where they're still having to mop up the trail middle third week. That's a terrible position. You want to be on Dracula and pressurizing Dracula at this point. This is just a really terrible situation all round.
And I think here's when we were talking about it, just thinking of the Drac event cards where Unearthly Swiftness might, certainly, yeah, Unearthly Swiftness might be a better card to have rather than Darkness Returns because as we saw the game we commentated Pizza Wizard about how Darkness Returns. If you've already played CG, it skips day, but it allows your hunters to play CG at night. Whereas Unearthly Swiftness, move one location, you move a two, and if it's the final week, you're getting 6 points.
You're getting 6 points. Yeah, absolutely.
And
yeah, whereas with Darkness 10,
play CG, whereas it might actually. We both had them in the top tiers, but I think Unearthly Swiftness may be certainly to use it in the end game because, let's say, Darkness Returns. It's a case of you're struggling there because they have to play next. So yeah, maybe a Darkness Returns is a good card to use early game where you're delaying them from moving. It was just something else. And here's something else I was going to think about, and again, this will be controversial to you, but bear with me.
Oh, do I need to pause the video for this? I think maybe. How controversial is this?
That. It's not. Well, it could well be. Fast horses are shit. No.
Get out.
Fog over vampires, right? Attacking vampires.
Yep.
Fog delay. If you find a fog in a day and it's done, you're delayed a day and a night. Okay. You can supply the next day. You don't have stakes and it's a new vampire. You've got to fight, and a vampire's going to score you points. Yep. Mist won't on its own. Fog won't rather. Albeit it could, it could then theoretically lead towards points being scored.
It protects you, or it stops you getting to another location, or that sort of thing. Yeah.
If the stakes are low, it's a case of, well, maybe behind the veil would be a case of get rid of our attacking vampires. One less vamp. Mac's rarely going to burn through his deck. It's one less you have to worry about, especially Reckless. You don't have to worry about fangs or various other, or you can take out a new. If you're going to pick up 2/4/1s, you may have that anyway. But if you land on Fog, really, it's a case of, is it worth the sacrifice? You've still got to jump on a Drac, which can effectively kill a hunter, as we saw, or damage a hunter enough that, if you don't have the stakes, or you have to go back. So just sort of thinking about a week. I know behind the veil, the first thing everyone does is remove the fog, but I think looking for, that might be another option. Is just take out the vampires, and then you don't have to worry about walking around with a stake because you're like, well, if Sue's got 2 stakes, you're like, well, I'll burn one and get a conventional weapon or something better.
Yep, I agree. I think there's definitely an argument to it. I think the thing is, like, it also depends on the way you play, right? If you're, especially the way we play, the meta is in the Discord community where most of us get fast horses for the extra movement, well then you're limiting your item hand by quite a bit. Do you want to have to really have a stake? It would be better to have a Heavenly Host and a weapon, or 2 weapons, or, gun and holy bullets, or whatever, right? So in an argument like that, whereas it doesn't matter if you're having fast horses or no fast horses, forewarned will always counter fog, regardless of what other items you've got. So I guess the only problem with forewarned is you don't know who's going to walk into the fog, but you can plan around it. If you know whoever's the lead hunter, not necessarily Godalming, but the one who's in front and is most likely to jump on Dracula, just give them the forewarned and preempt them walking into fog. Whereas then, yeah, maybe behind the veil, get rid of a vampire. Yeah, maybe. I would do it. If I don't think I've done it often, but if I have a situation where I know my stakes have been burnt, or I've had to ditch them because I've had one hunter end up with all the stakes or something, it's not necessarily a bad idea to get rid of a fighter vamp. Really, it's not that bad. It's not a bad idea. It also depends on where the item deck is in terms of if it's just reshuffled, then and you ditch a lot of stakes, you're going to get them back out again. But it all depends, I think. Okay, again,
Yeah, it was just something. It's like I see it like behind the veil immediately. If fog's there, it's like great block fog, delete fog. That's it. And it's a case of is it now just become the meta? People aren't thinking what they're doing. They just see fog and go great, get rid of it, rather than thinking if he's got a new vampire, a reckless, aristocratic, you're leaving all them there. And again, then it's a case of you've got to make sure you've got stake on the right. And again, forewarned's only going to happen if he ambushes you. So
that's true. In this situation, right? We've got that with Van Helsing. Yep.
Yeah, forewarned can be sitting on him, but it doesn't. It's done no good to you. So yeah, it was just these.
No, I don't.
I need to ask you about that because
I don't think it's that controversial. I mean, maybe it goes against, as you said, it goes against the meta. But if I saw a hunter player doing that, I wouldn't. I'd probably. It might raise an eyebrow and go, "Oh, okay, didn't get rid of fog." But at the same time, like, it wouldn't take me that much convincing to see it's not a terrible thing. Obviously, if you got rid of rats over it, then I'd be like, "Come on." But if you got rid of a vampire, I'd be like, I totally get why. One fewer vampire to deal with is that could be a big deal at the end of the game, especially if you know that the stakes aren't coming out for you, or they've been pushed onto the wrong person, you're having to ditch them or whatever. Yeah, not.
And again, it stops the of his end game in the deck. Again, how often does Dracula deck get burnt and reset? Very rarely. You don't have to worry about double vamps at the end game.
Yep, that's true.
You've taken out a couple of you've taken out one hunter or one a reckless or a new vampire. You don't mind landing aristocratic getting delayed for it's like, yeah, okay, fair enough, I'll get delayed for a day. It's stopping Drac getting any scores, and then as I said, you're not having damning with fast horses, a stake and something else. It can be fast horses, a knife and a heavenly host, and all of a sudden you don't mind jumping on Drac at that stage. So yeah, I was just thinking that. I think it's kind of a few things that happen. I mean, the meta's fluid because we've seen that, just in the, not just with the tournament, but since I've started, it's kind of things come into trend and go out of fads, and it's like we're going to do this now, and that becomes and something else happens. Go, that's a good idea, and everyone starts using that. So it's, I think if I'm looking at that in the next stage, I was thinking about going, yeah, I'm going to have to get rid of a vamp. I think because they cause more hassle, especially probably with the tournament. Games I've played has been hunters where you've been stuck fighting vampires, and it's like I'd rather have just got rid of this and dealt with the fog 2 weeks ago, and now I don't have to worry about having to worry if there's a fog there or not, a vampire.
Vampire, sure.
So yeah, just these things that crop into my head. I might just change that and just see if it catches on.
Okay, so after that. We interlude about controversy. We'll carry on. So I don't know what I was doing there. I was thinking, do I move to Adriatic Sea now? I'll supply one turn. I don't know what I got out of it. I don't think I got anything particularly useful. It's funny, they were talking about vampires. I'm potentially going to have to face a double vampire and Bari now.
Yeah.
Which is, that's a scary... I mean, I've got a stake, an escape route, but still, that's pretty scary.
Yeah, I mean, that'll take care of one, and then you've got the other, and then you've got Drac, so...
I probably...
Almost full health as well, but...
Yeah, I think I maybe... I can't remember why I held off one turn. Maybe because I wanted to trade the escape route before I went to sea. I think.
That's interesting. I wonder why... Well, I guess he's trying to... Yeah, that makes sense. I was wondering why he could have moved to Rome, because...
He could have misdirected.
Couldn't get there.
Yeah.
No, sorry. Oh, no, sorry, I beg your pardon. He's already got it on the map. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Now at this point, were you tempted to play CG tonight and force him to Ionian and take more damage, or were you like, well, I'll wait for him to land and see what he does?
I was going to wait for him to land. You can see, with Godalme, I'm already prepping for this. I'm kind of resigned to the fact that, I mean, Florence, he put into a lair, thankfully. I'm kind of resigned to the fact, well, Rome's going to mature. I'm just hoping that it's just a nothing encounter, quote unquote. And I'm going to I'm going to bank on the fact that he's put all his eggs into one basket, which is Bari. I'm not quite sure why I moved Seward all the way to 16. That doesn't really make much sense. I assumed he was going east at this point. But obviously, he could go to Mediterranean, but that's a lot of damage he's going to take to do that. So the most likely thing is he's going to go east. So I'm kind of prepping for that. Kadami's still got the consecrated ground, so that's fine. Obviously, I'm hoping that Rome is not another hoax, because that'd be pretty bad.
Yeah, 20 decks there.
Now I'm doing trading. I don't know what I'm trading. Okay.
Alright, okay.
I don't know who needs excellent weather. Maybe Van Helsing goes to Ionian, perhaps?
Yeah. Yeah, because if he lands and doesn't want even wolves, you kind of.
Yeah,
Unless
no.
he was ballsy and wolf formed
38 or 37.
38.
Yeah.
Then Godalming checks 50 and he's got enough time, but then he's wolf formed, and then it's kind of like, nah, that's what we said earlier. You don't want to start yourself into unnecessary
Risks.
areas or positions to lose the game. This is still strong for. That's interesting. Not sure.
It's a good job I have Rufus here and not argue the fact he's doing this. So, I know he's an Ionian now, so I'm kind of like, okay, still quite like he goes to 50 here, but I've got to sort of plan on the idea that he goes somewhere else. Might head back west again.
I guess that, yeah, you might be thinking Mina now has to either land or go to the Ionian anyway. I guess you would do, just to stay on his tail. And then if he does go to the Med, Cagliari.
Well, no, but here's the thing: I've got Naples and Bari to deal with. I can't let something mature.
Yeah.
I mean, I've already let Florence and Rome mature, and that's already been pretty fortunate that he's put it into layers. They haven't been anything like a bodyguards or a spy or something. So that's been pretty fortunate on my part. Or maybe he has the intention to go back there at some point and wants to have lots of stuff laid down. But with CG, that'd be pretty bad. But
yeah, maybe Ionian, because again, I'm just thinking even if he will from Adriatic to Sofia, there's a risk that Godalming jumps on him. I mean, again, he's still got enough health to. I wouldn't be too concerned about that fight. But then it's a case of, well, you could then start heading up towards Dracula, which then kind of rules out. Actually, where we are on Friday, if he goes up to Castle Dracula, you can't use CG on another 2 sites.
Fascinating. I completely forgotten I'd done that. I completely forgotten I'd done that. Just in case, like, Bari was like a bait, and I can get. I've already let 2 things go into layers. Naples has to be something else. It has to be something bad for me, I assume. Van Helsing doesn't have a stake. It's okay. I can kind of work around it. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Uh-oh, here they come. Okay, so I escape route out of that. Double vampire.
Yeah, see, yeah. So, I mean, you don't want to get that any time of the game, but that's my thinking behind when I was thinking about the whole behind the veil stuff. I'm like, you removed one of them, and then you don't have to worry about it. But
then, to be fair, I didn't get behind the veil this game. Or did I?
No, that's true. Yeah, I mean, obviously, no, you didn't. No, not.
Of all the cards, I didn't get that one. No.
Yeah, I mean, it was such a bad first week for you. With your CG and your Rufus and your renewed vigor, it must have been tough. I don't know how you managed it, mate.
You can say it's been
a battle of attrition for you.
It's been an uphill battle, clearly, for the whole game.
Jesus.
So now I'm running through this, going, right, shit. I'm gonna have to stake this at some point, but then I've got this new vampire behind it, so I mustn't take too much damage with Mina, otherwise I won't be able to. I'm gonna die to that new vampire later, and I can't afford that to happen either. Thank goodness he plotted here, so that was fortunate I didn't dodge. In the end, I was about to play dodge, and I changed my mind, thankfully. So that's working out for me.
Because what she? So it's just rifle. It's only it's just
Yeah,
one
because
weapon.
I've got
Right.
stake. I got stake and
Oh
heavenly
yeah.
host, heavenly
So,
horse.
oh God,
Can you imagine?
that'll be the new one.
Yeah, a horse that just pisses on
Right.
Drac and Drac dies. There you go. Heavenly horse. There we go. That's what it
There
is.
you go.
Yeah. So I got out. I've only taken 2 damage. I'm like, right, this is fine. I can maybe rest, do it next day. I've got different options.
Yeah, well that's cleared. Yeah, I mean that's fine. You've got the stake for Barry, haven't you? So that's that's not going to happen. Got again, yeah, it's good. You got Van Helsing at Naples again. If he has just thrown down a aristocratic, hoping that
Hmm
your focus is on Barry, I guess we'll
But well,
find out now
let's
what
see.
he plays.
A hoax.
Right. Okay.
Thank God I didn't let that mature.
Oh.
And now I'm searching Bari at night because I suddenly realised. I think I might realise at this moment if let's just assume that hoax went really badly for me and it's an unearthly swiftness or darkness returns. What Draco could do here is if I wait one more day, he'll be able to play that card, and especially if it's an unearthly swiftness, I can't stop it from maturing. My best option is try and kill it now, but obviously this is risky because I'm going to a night fight with a new vampire.
Yeah.
Well, at least he's not getting 7 points out of this, so that's the benefit. If I still die here, yeah, it's not great, obviously, but it's much better than giving up 7 points. Oh, there you are. There you are.
Oh yeah.
I don't think you stick around for long. I think you leave.
Probably not. Yeah, I probably thought Werecraft was going to win. I thought, oh well, that's it. Yeah, I do. I tell you, I leave games thinking they're all over, and then all of a sudden it lasts another 2 weeks. I'm like, how the fuck are they still playing? When I left,
The number of times
when I
that's
left, it was
happened to
like
you.
14. Yeah, it's like,
The,
how
the,
how is
the,
this happening?
the things you've missed, and then look at that. He plays claws again, and I escape. So I get out of this. I take 4 damage, but I don't care. I've stopped the vampire. There's an unearthly swiftness. That's now not going to trigger. Well, it will trigger, but it's not going to give him points. So that was like the best case scenario for me because I could have died doing this. So this is I was jumping for joy at this point.
I think as Werecraft, and knowing that's what you've placed there, I would have been inclined to have wolf formed into Sophia now instead of another C, because those two are now delayed. You know, those two are now delayed. Van Helsing, Mina's now there. She's not going to get across. Excellent weather's been used. And now I'm going to start throwing down locations, and more events now. So
Yeah.
being at sea is just 2 more damage and allows the guys to just get into a better position. So I'm not sure if that
The only problem
Adriatic
with this
Draconian was the
is
right move.
if he's going west, Mina can't get to Rome. Well, they can go to Rome, but then to supply up again. But Rome is a layer, so I'm
Well,
having to think.
Florence were both layers, aren't they?
So
So
I'm kind of thinking if I get out of this, this is going to cause problems. But I need to supply up again because they've only got. I mean, Van Helsing's tooled up. Mina kind of needs to supply, but like it's late in the game. If she's only running around with just a rifle, okay, fine, I can deal with it. It's more the health actually. If I land on the wrong type of encounter, I could lose a lot of health, and that could be a problem. The fact that he's moved a third sea space is either Tyrrhenian or Black Sea.
yeah, I mean Black Sea. I mean again, if that's the case, did I watch this thing? I obviously didn't watch it. I was there, but I can't remember. Yes, that's the option now. You kind of go right. The ICG
hmm Something similar to what
17
happened.
to 56
Yeah,
to
that's
force him to if he's in Tyrrhenian, he's got no hide or feed for another 2 days. So what's he gonna do if he lands on Cagliari? Place that item. He's got to wait 2 days. By then, Van Helsing can get to him by sea anyway. And then he's going to feed, and then he's still stuck. So, oh Jesus, now he's got a rope. So yeah, I'm not. I think I still would have wolfed into Sophia.
now what I'm doing here
Yeah,
is with Seward, I'm prepping for the possibility that he's going westward.
yeah.
He might be wanting to go to Mediterranean and then wolf form because the fact that I mean Godami's not that far away, but if he lands in Black Sea, I'm not actually. I mean, I am worried, obviously, at this point. Like, you have to be a little bit worried if I don't catch him in time. But I've got Heroic Cleave on Godalming, so he can just kill him. As long as I land on him, I can just kill Dracula. So my problem is then if he goes west, how do I deal with that? So that's what I'm kind of thinking about here.
I mean, that's reliant with the. See, the only thing is, like, again, he'd gone Sophia. I mean, well, if he's in the Black Sea now, he still hasn't wolf form, so you can wolf form to 10, try and get into Castle Dracula to feed, so that the heroic leap, it's not going to kill him. You get to him because again, you've got to rely on getting the right rolls for the fast horse anyway, because you're not on a rail track.
True.
So that would be the other thing about it is
that is true. I don't know why. I mean, I took it off him there because I suddenly realized, oh well, I can trade it back to him later. Godalming doesn't have to have it, as long as Godalming doesn't have to ditch. Van Helsing have to ditch it. But then the problem is like, imagine if I do have I do have Consecrated Ground, but as a Dracula player, you're thinking if I go Black Sea and if I get to Castle Dracula, okay, that's fine. But then once I leave Castle Dracula, I could get blocked in, and that's then a problem.
I think with Saturday though, and where the game is, I think I would risk it.
I mean, that's true. That's true. And now you're seeing.
So now he's
Where is this? Is this a 17, 56, a 25, 13? That's the only places it could be.
I guess you would play Speedy. Oh no.
I've used Excellent Weather, so like I would just go on to Cagliari, but I can't. I mean, that'd be great if I had Excellent Weather now.
Oh.
Yeah, no, like.
Fucking hell. I mean,
can't make it up, can you?
Against that. What'd you do against that? Fucking
hell. Just waiting. What? I don't know. Yeah. I could have maybe gone to the Turinian. Oh, then I get Hide Scouts. So the money trail is like redundant. So now I know, right, okay, he's landed. Now I can play CG if need be. But it's on Cagliari. Surprise, fucking surprise. Shock. Shock horror. So now I'm immediately right.
Just to pull those cards at that time. I mean,
I know.
That's what annoys me about this game.
Yeah, and he doesn't even know I had money trail. So like, I would have if I didn't get this cards, I would have just paid money trail, and I realized, oh, Turinian, right? It's either 25 or 13. And then the thing is, he's gonna have to leave Cagliari now today, because hides on the trail, feeds on the trail.
Yeah.
So maybe.
I think the whole wolf for 50 would have been, because even if you get up to 10, again CG is redundant because you can't play it on any. You've got 3 locations to go to up top. You're not taking that amount of damage, so.
And of course, he has to leave. That's no surprise. Now we're in the stage of the game where
you CG the host and Yep. It's funny, this time last week in game, you were like, yeah, that's 7 damage. I don't think it was worth it. I lost RV, and all of a sudden now it's like Drac's thinking. I mean, when Drac was in Italy with a full week of trails, you'd be thinking, it's my
fucked.
game to lose here.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden,
now it's all swung back the other way again.
That's what I was talking. Yeah, I alluded to that when I was speaking to you both about the Hunter play. That it's like Sue's going away up there. Because normally you think, well, not going to, are you going up there to kind of bait him into wolf forming him into 54-50? But then of course it was charter carriage straight down into Spain. So,
that's the thing, right? And that's the thing I'm kind of thinking of already, right? Where do I have to put staff? What's going on here? That sort of thing. Yeah. I don't know what health he's on at this point.
He'll be on 3. He was on 5 at Cagliari, and he's gone back to C. So.
And now I get behind the veil. And look what he has. Look what he has. So now I'm immediately right. Fuck. Okay, that's basically more or less 3 additional points he's going to get. So I have to work around this now. I've got 1 day fewer than I expected to. And also I'm going to ditch the fog here, right? Because then it's just I don't have to think about it at this point. Vampires I don't give a shit about because everything's going to mature at this point.
Well, plus his hand is there's nothing in there you're worried about, so yeah, you would do that.
Yeah.
But exactly. That's rough. That's rough. I think that's just But that's the problem with Adriatic. You go there. If you go 2 Cs, you're in the Ionian. You've got to go 3 to cause any confusion. Whereas if you go Ionian and go 2 Cs, you've got the option straight away. Normally the Adriatic is you want to get there just to jump over and then do the wolf form up to 50. I mean, you could even do 46 and sit there, because even if you played CG after that, Ionian's free.
Yeah, so you can just leave again. Yeah, it also depends on how much damage you take. I'm looking here. He's on 5 health. I'm like, well, he's going to have to probably wolf form from meds. So that's him down to 4 health. Heroic Leap is now really much in the equation. I could just kill if he feeds after his wolf form. That's kind of risky too, but then he knows he's got Darkness Return. But you know,
Yeah.
I'm having to work out
Yeah, it's an awful lot.
but the fact that Heroic Leap is on Van Helsing and the two hunters which are on the main, like, they're in contention to catch Dracula are the two that go before Van Helsing. Now this is perfect situation. I can just find him and then just trade Heroic Leap to whoever needs it. I don't know what I'm doing here. Clearly something extremely thought-provoking.
Just be
Yeah, right.
my fault.
Oh, then maybe I thought it was Dracula's turn, but it went on to, it hadn't switched to Godalming on my screen, maybe.
Yep. Okay, this is what every Drac player hates to see.
So now I'm trying to work out where do I put CG, where's CG is going to cause the most problems later, and I think that was a slight mistake. I think I should have put it somewhere else, but we can talk about it later if need be. I think I should have put it in a different spot.
Yeah, it worked out for you, so it was.
He's got 5 health.
Another C.
Yeah, so he's got 5 health, right? So he's in med, he's got 5 health. So the thing I kind of overplayed a bit here was, I don't want him to wolf form from Mediterranean, because that's just a terrible situation. I mean, it's not end of the world, but the fact I've got Darkness Returns, there's too many places for me to check. What I should have done, which I'm now kind of thinking about, I mean, maybe not, it depends on how you think about it. What maybe could have happened here was Dracula could have gone to Ireland. Because I haven't blocked it. He would be on 1 health going to North Atlantic because of Darkness Returns and all that stuff. And I might, if I had an excellent weather on Sud, I might be able to get there quickly enough, but maybe not. I'm not sure on the timing. If it's then I'm then forcing Dracula to make a calculate. I mean, I put it in Madrid because I thought if he goes to South Atlantic and then wolf forms, from there, he's having to maneuver around Madrid, which is really awkward. So I think that was the right play. But then in retrospect, Dracula could have gone all the way to Ireland, and I probably actually wouldn't be able to stop him. I didn't have excellent weather, but he didn't know that. He didn't know that.
No, but he would have gone to Ireland with 1, and he's still only on 4 points. So there would have been enough time.
Well, he would have landed on 23. That's 7 points. Then he plays Darkness Returns. That's 10. So assuming I didn't jump on him,
Darkness Returns, yeah.
I might have just had a day. It all depends on how quickly Sue could have gotten over. But I'm trying to force him into Spain here.
Yeah, no, well, yeah, I think you're overthinking that. That's the right move. You know, I'd rather deal with this and force him into North Atlantic.
Yeah.
Not play this, and then you just rule form somewhere into the mainland, and then and then you had Murray Trail. So again, it's one of those where you're going to know where he's gone anyway. The only thing would have been where if he landed, he could have been in 39-8 or 23, and then you've got enough hunters in there now to look at it and go, right, well.
So I'm
search this.
I mean, in retrospect, I should have probably moved to Bordeaux here and not Nantes. That was a little bit, because if I'd gone to 8, I would have saved myself a turn later. But never mind, we'll talk about it. I'm now remembering how this played out.
All came out in the wash, didn't it? So, I mean, that's a lot of good cards to have. I mean,
same. I had to get a surprising return because I could have searched. I was keeping the vampire legs. I thought I might be able to get a stake, but I didn't have the stake. So really, I think I should have just taken the guaranteed surprising return, and I could have got Aggie to search. That's also another thing, maybe. I don't have a stake. If I had a stake on Van Helsing, then Vampire Lair is a good idea, but...
You know what he could have done? You know what he should have done in the med? He should have misdirected Cagliari and gone back to it. Because then he would have got 3 for going back to it. He could have hidden, he could have fed, and then Darkness Returns. Oh no, you'd have to move.
You have to pay Dark Call. I don't know if he would have had... Would Cagliari come up against Odyssey? That would be misdirect, go back to Cagliari.
So that would have been 7.
That's
9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So he could have landed...
Maybe Tyrinian might have come off the trail quickly enough. Maybe. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't.
I just yeah.
Off the top of my head, I can't do the maths, but yeah, it's possible. Maybe not. No.
4, 5,
I
6, 7.
I'm more talking about it when Tyrion
Yeah,
will come off the
I,
trail. That's the thing. So I think if he see instead of going to South
yeah,
Atlantic, he goes
yeah.
to Cagliari. So Tyrrhenian
Ah, you're right. He's a day
Tyrrhenian
away.
is
He
still
needs to be back.
there. So then you have to hide, feed, dark call, and then
Yeah, yeah.
with
Okay,
Darkness
so
Returns it
he's
would have
one
been
day
a
away.
bit, but then you'd have to go to Tyrrhenian, and then he would have only been on. Oh, he would have had enough health, I think, and then he could have just maybe landed for the win. Would he have enough? Oh, he might have actually had enough. I think he might have just been able to do it. But then if I have excellent weather, I could just jump onto him and just heroic leap him.
He knows that you've burnt both excellent weather, so you wouldn't be worried.
Oh, that's true. I've used both, haven't I? Yeah, that's very true. That's very, very true. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just thinking it could have. Yeah, I mean, it would have been close with that, but I think it's one of those where, unless he was going to go to Galway, I left the game by now in there because I can't remember this.
Yeah.
Maybe John,
You
I
had
can't
left.
remember.
You had left the game. Yeah.
Ah, right, aye.
You've got.
Must have thought, oh, Werecraft's got this sewn up. That's fine. And then it's like, what? Hang on, what? You had Italy full of trails, didn't you? Rule form was Sophia. No, oh, all right.
I think you left when the CG was played. And there's Darkness
Oh yeah,
Returns,
well,
right? So
yeah.
that's now me thinking, right, okay, he's going to be definitely up to 10 points. So I've got 1 day. 1 day to catch him.
And you've still got renewed vigor, though, haven't you?
I do have renewed vigor, yes, and you can bet your dollar that's getting played. You can bet your ass that's getting played.
Yeah. I mean, even Masood being off the trail. So
But
you've got fast horses.
no, but here's the thing: I've got other stuff I can. I think there's a sense of emergency there. I need to also check Bordeaux. In retrospect, this is actually I should have instead of moving him to Nantes, I should have gone to Bordeaux, because I could. He wouldn't be able to wolf form onto Bordeaux, so he would have been trapped in Spain. But then he might have moved to North Atlantic, but then I'm still on the North Atlantic coast, so that's probably a misplay on my part. Should have moved to Bordeaux to block that potential wolf form from South Atlantic.
Well, the thing is, he's burnt both his fogs, and
Oh yeah, I'm
if
not
he is
worried. Yeah, I'm not
involved
worried
in
about
the Atlantic,
Fogs. It's
you'll
just
jump on him.
it's just trying to find him. That's the quick. I'm trying to find him at this
Yeah,
point.
I suppose.
So this is like final day. I mean, you like that when games come down to like this, where it's like, yeah,
Comes down, yeah, this is it.
Thursday, fourth week. That's a pretty good game.
As darkness returns.
So I've got Sense of Mercy and Chartered Carriage, but the problem is I'm off the rail line, so I can't use Chartered Carriage right now.
Yeah.
So I go to Bordeaux because I want to check to see has he wolf formed to 15 to be sneaky. Hasn't done that. So now he's like, right, he's in Spain. There's no question unless he's now gone to 54. If he went from like wolf form from South Atlantic to 54, but that's unlikely. And then Godami's right beside, so he can check that.
I'll tell you what's been interesting in this game as well. I've noticed you've never once checked the layers to see what he has and what he hasn't got. It's quite interesting.
Oh, I did actually.
Yeah.
I did check
Like
layers.
there,
Yeah.
for example, like if you check layers now, you'd see whether Toulouse was on it or not, and you'd be like, that would just remove that.
Oh
issue.
no, I already knew Toulouse wasn't because when I moved Godami onto Marseille, I checked if Marseille was a layer or not, and there were 2 layers in Italy plus there was a layer somewhere else, but it wasn't Toulouse.
Ah, right, okay.
Now I'm saying that it might have been Toulouse. I don't think so. I don't think so. My gut says it wasn't Toulouse, but I might be wrong on that. Oh no, I think it was Genoa, because Genoa was the Folk.
Ah, right. Yeah,
But well, I did check at some point, and now I'm like, right, where do I think he's got? Where do you think he is?
Oh, you know what you said earlier about losing 2 games to Lisbon? I don't think he would have gone to Lisbon. I don't think he would have tried to do the whole, I'll pretend to move 2 and stay in 1. My imagine with CG being played now, I would imagine he's probably gone to Granada. The view that because Seward's not on or he wasn't on the rail line, so you're gonna, I would imagine Seward would check Deeth. Then from there you can work out, okay, well actually you might, if you check 47, but I think if he's gone to Granada, I think that's far enough away that Godalming couldn't get to him with a fast horse and renewed vigor.
If he's in
So
Cadiz,
yeah,
unless he has a chartered carriage, yeah.
I think he's in Granada. I think he's will form to Granada because then it frees up Cadiz and Alicante to move next.
Okay, and at the end of the day, he doesn't. Even if he moves into a hunter, it doesn't matter because he just wins.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Okay, so
Doesn't want you landing on him, so you want to try and stay away from wherever Seward is.
okay, okay. So you think that he's wolf formed from South Atlantic to Granada, and now he's gone back to Cadiz?
Or he's in Alicante. Well, Alicante or Cadiz. Yeah, one of the two are there.
Okay. So you see,
Or
so you see where I'm.
actually.
So now you can see where I'm going with sense of emergency. I'm going to Cadiz,
Did he hide?
and he's not there. He could have also hidden.
No,
That's true. He could have also hidden. That's also another true. That's another possibility.
Well, a card that would have been useful to find that out. You know.
And now I've rolled badly with fast horses, so I can't get anywhere else.
Right. How the fuck has he lost this game? He hasn't got to move once, even if unless he's got. I mean, even if he's in Alicante, he just hides now. If he's in Granada and he's already hidden, he just moves to Alicante. Nobody else can get to him. Who the fuck? Right, this is. Oh, hang on. All right, 1, 2. If he's in Alicante, all right. Mina. Oh no, she can't.
No, because there's no rail connection between no rail connection. So I go to Saragossa, and he wolf formed to Saragossa from the South Atlantic, and now he's not in 54, so he's either in 47 or 1.
But did he not know to use hide?
And in retrospect, I should have played forewarned there. That was pretty bad because like he hasn't got folk, so like what else am I going to forewarn? So that was pretty stupid. So basically, yeah, I think your memory's playing tricks on you, Rossco. I didn't win this game.
Do you not?
No.
I thought this was the final. I thought you won the final game, didn't you?
No. I even told you the Discord that I didn't win it.
I thought because it was a case of you'd said you weren't in the right frame of mind, and when you won it, you were going to say to Godam, you were going to say to Werecraft, oh, do you know what? I don't care if you win it or not. As it happens, you won it.
No.
Oh, so you lost your last game of the whole the final group.
Yeah. And now what I'm doing here,
the tournament. I've not even checked back at the picture. Did you actually win this fucking tournament?
Yeah.
I'll go back and it'll be like Werecraft won it by. I thought this was what you'd said.
No.
Because you were like I wasn't really up for the game, and by the end of it, I thought, you know what, if Werecraft wins it, and I just assumed, mate, you'd won this. That's why I was thinking, how the fuck can he lose?
No. What I meant when I said if Werecraft had won, I meant the league, not the game. If I had played that badly, just because I was not in the frame of mind to play, if I played that terribly, which retrospectively I did, I played fucking dreadfully. Let's just be brutally honest about this. There's no way I can sugarcoat this. Werecraft played well. I'm saying this. This is not like disrespecting Werecraft. Werecraft did everything he had to do to win, and that is.
Well,
I played everything, made really logical. Like the encounters he put down, really it really sort of capitulated my bad decision making. I was making bad decisions, but then on top of that, mob mature. So I wasted so many turns having to heal when really that shouldn't have happened. Hoax mature, which it shouldn't happen, but hoax is devastating if it matures. And then it could have been even worse depending on all the stuff that happened. You know, Florence was a lair, could have been something else. Rome was a lair, could have been something else. And only because I decided to excellent weather onto Naples, I didn't, there's another hoax that didn't mature. And then clutch play just stopped Bari from maturing. So yeah. No. So basically what happened here was, you can see like, the only way I get out of this is if Van Helsing draws a stake now with his supply, there's 6 cards left in the deck, and I can play Vampire Lair, and I can get a day, and I get dogs. So obviously, like I'm annoyed, going, oh fuck's sake, like 1 in 7. I don't know how many stakes were left in the deck. Maybe like at least 1 in 7, maybe more than that, and I didn't get it. But then let's be brutally honest about this. Like I had enough cards to win. I had enough opportunities to catch. Yeah. I can't sit here and be annoyed about 1 stake not coming out.
It's just crazy. I mean, it's probably useful that we didn't discuss what the result was before. I assumed from maybe I misconstrued the message you said. I can't remember you saying I never checked back on it, but it was a case of I just assumed that you'd won it. I was like, oh, congratulations, maybe you meant the tournament, but I've been watching this whole game, the view that you're going to win this, and that's why it was like, all right. And then I'm like, why is he going? So this has been great, but now I've left, I've gone, oh, yeah, right, okay. Well, that's because I'm sitting there going, he can't lose. How the fuck has Scot-sword won this? And so this has been a real.
So basically, it was a crapshoot, and I lost based upon it. Like, there's so many things like wrong with this. Like, what I could have done. there's so many mistakes in here. Like I can't be mad. Like ultimately, I
That's why I
lost.
was saying to you
Well,
about TG though, when you were saying about it, I was like, well, obviously it worked, so don't worry about it. It wasn't a bad mistake.
yeah, no, that's why you're
Because I
saying that. I
assumed
was
you
like,
won the
I'm
game.
gonna stay quiet here. Let's see how long he
Yeah.
realizes.
I didn't even. No, I thought you won the final game and that was it. So.
No, no, my win against Pizza Wizard was sufficient that I. Oh no, just to lose wasn't a layer, otherwise he would have ambushed me there. Um, I won because my victory against Pizza Wizard was great enough that the fact Werecraft beat me here, it didn't actually matter because I had that game, I had that win in hand. Well, obviously, I'm obviously annoyed because I lost my 100% record on this. So yeah, he did. He wolfed from to Saragossa, went out of cut, and then he moved to Granada. Of course, he moved to Granada. That's absolutely fine. He could go anywhere he wanted. Um, yeah. So
Interesting.
yeah.
Ah.
So obviously, you know, I'm really gutted about it because like again, well played to Werecraft. Like he did what he had to do to win. He didn't know what state I was in. He did what he had to do to win, and that's totally fine. That's completely on me. And he could have won, right? Look how badly I played. I could completely envisage a situation where he wins
I
with
think you made it a
almost
bit
full
more.
health. He could have
Yeah, I
won with
think he
almost full health. Yeah.
made it harder on himself than it should have ended up. To be fair, um, the situation he was in with Italy, I think he could have. It could have been a lot easier. Plus, his IDS again would have been a bit better as well from there.
Hmm.
I mean, he won happy days, but I think the whole going to sea in the 4 seat. I mean, that was yeah. I mean, he was in. So he was in when you landed. When Seward was in Bordeaux, he was in
Saragossa.
already in Alicante.
No. I was in 30. I was in 39. Suud
When
was
you
in
went to Oh yes, yes. So you went to Bordeaux, he was in Alicante, right?
which in
So yeah,
retrospect
if you
was really bad. I should have moved to Bordeaux, so then I didn't have to make that move to Bordeaux. I could have gone somewhere else, like rail to Saragossa, and then I realized, oh right, he wolf formed to Saragossa. Right now I only know it's 47 or 4 or 54 1. Right, then I can start ruling them out.
yeah,
So yeah, that was just, and all it took was one person to land on him, and I had heroic leap ready because he only has 2 health. I had to
yeah.
get a stake on Van Helsing because if Van Helsing got a stake, that'd be game over because he'd have to move into me. He was on 10 points at this point, so Vampire would have actually kicked in. He would have moved into me, got up to 11, and then I just would have heroic leaped next turn. So that was it.
But who had the heroic leap?
Van Helsing. So Van Helsing could have traded it over to whoever needed it. That's
Would
why
have been
I.
delayed after Vampire Lair though.
Yeah, but I would have done it the next day. I would have done it as my day
The following
action,
day, right?
and I just would have survived one fight, and I just heroic leap him. Um,
Yeah.
but then like there's so many errors, and I think that's kind of important, like to realize. We actually talked about this. Is really interesting. Like, was one of the things I said when we had that conversation with Werecraft about the league in general, where I said, obviously as a YouTuber I have an advantage, but like because I was recording so many games, if you can watch back your own gameplay, you realize how many mistakes you make. And at the end, yeah, this game did come down to like a flip of the die. I thought he was in Gadif too, for the exact same reasoning as you. It's off the rail line. Seward doesn't have fast horses. Godalming can't really easily get there unless he does like chartered carriage and then walks. So surely Gadif is like the most logical place that he would go to. But no, he didn't. He psyched me out a bit and he went closer to me, hoping I'd jump over him. Perhaps that could have ended really badly for him. But fair enough. He won the grab shoot. But then if you look at everything that happened prior to beforehand, the fact that I was even in this position was ridiculous, because the whole of that second week was a car crash from start to finish, and I'm not proud of it at all, especially if it was my last game of the tournament. It shows, kind of highlights the thing that we were talking about before. Like we talked about it with like if you're trying to play after a really difficult day at work or whatever, or it's late in the day. This was not played late in the day, by the way. This was like an afternoon match. I think for Werecraft it was like 9 a.m. something like that. So that's an okay hour. But if you're trying to play in suboptimal conditions, in terms of tiredness or in terms of stress from work or whatever, you're not going to play well. And then same thing, from a health perspective, either physically or mentally, if you're not up to scratch, you could still win. Of course you could, but you're not going to be thinking quite the same way. Things are going to act differently. Who knows? Maybe this game might have gone exactly the same way. I have no idea. Or it could have gone worse for me. Who knows? We only know the game that we've played. But you can just see some of the ridiculous decisions I was making, and just so inefficient with turns. And we talked about it. It's a resource management game as well as being deduction and all this sort of stuff. You've only got a certain number of actions, and if you fail your actions, well, you can have as many great cards as you want. eventually it all came a bit too late for me. And then when you're having to flip a coin between what location Dracula's in, well, sometimes you're going to get that flip of the coin right, but other times you're going to get it wrong. And then, at the end of the day, Werecraft probably, when you see on the balance how poorly I played, Werecraft deserved to win this match. That's just
Yeah,
a
I agree.
no-brainer.
Yeah,
No-brainer.
his escape from Bordeaux,
Yeah.
Justified him to win that. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was ahead. Italy was pretty much controlled by him.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that's the other thing about it, though. It's one of those where you move that one spot and they find you. It's like, oh, there's 1 out of 3 they can pick, and they pick you on the first one. You're like, oh fuck, that's it. But if they don't, that's the fine margin. Again, it's about the hunters deciding which one to go to and which ones they don't. And if that frees up Drac, then happy days. But
I don't even know. I'm gonna have to flick through the recording. Where did I kill that vampire? Because I'm intrigued. What would have been the mass if I killed? If I didn't kill this vampire, if this thing matured, what was the situation with Drac's health at this point? So maybe me killing the vampire and Barry actually won me the tournament. What do you think about it from a mathematical perspective?
he landed on Cagliari. I think he had 7 health because he had 5 when he went to the med. Oh no, yeah, so he would have had 7.
No, he had two after the wolf form. So wolf form 3, med 5. So he had 5 in Cagliari. So Turnian 7.
Oh, I see. You mean going back right? Okay.
Ionian 9, Adriatic 11. Would that be right? No, that sounds wrong.
What are you trying to work out?
I'm trying to work out how much health he had in Bari. He had 7 health because of... Ah, no, he had 13 health. Because he had 10... He had 7 from Bordeaux, then he fed and he got Desecrated Soul mature. So I don't know exactly at what sea space I kill... Oh, let me see, that's the vampire. Right, so he took 4 damage at this point. He might have had to move an extra space, but you know what I mean? Like, if I hadn't killed that vampire, if he played like Darkness Returns and it all went to shit, he might have had enough health, because obviously the way IDX works, he would have gained IDS from having more health. He would gain IDS and I would lose IDS. There's only, was it like 10 or 11 IDS between us? So it takes us like, he has 5 more health, and he could have done if he'd wolf formed and done certain things differently, blah, blah, blah. That potential play in Bari potentially kept, even though I lost the match, potentially won me the tournament because of it.
Yeah.
At the same time, like, we can dice it. Like, I think he was annoyed. I mean, from the game he played against you, going back to Lisbon, and at the same time, I could then complain, saying, "Oh well, I should have beaten Bugsby as Dracula." If we keep doing that, we'll go through every single game and find things that it all just becomes like, "Oh well, we should have won every game then."
I mean, it is. I mean, the thing is, I guess at that stage, that's before Behind the Veil had been played. So if he had Fog instant on the hide, when Mina landed there, he played Fog, that would have matured. And then
I think it would have just. Oh no! It would have just disappeared in time for the last dusk. I think.
She's gonna land. Oh, she's at sea now. So yeah, her next. Oh, it's Van Helsing's turn now. So yeah, she would land. Now,
yeah.
Would hit. Tomorrow, Barry.
But then it's dusk. It will disappear. So I think it would have been okay. I would have just. But here's the thing. Oh no! If you play Darkness Returns, it would have mattered, because Darkness Returns, if there's an unearthly swiftness, you could have forced it to mature.
I should have staked out. So I was going to say you wouldn't even risk it on her searching. But well, then again, yeah, I suppose you would search. You would get rid of the reckless first with the stake, and then get delayed. So yeah, yeah, he was just 1 day behind for that. If he'd been a day closer, then he could have. Yeah, which is probably why he didn't play the Fog. It was good played on his part. He's kept it. But
or if he'd done Darkness Returns while I was stuck at sea and I wasn't able to move in, could have easily matured. It would have matured. So yeah, I just moved to sea just the 1 turn before. So the whole. I mean, if I was in that situation, I probably would have used Darkness Returns to try to catch that, to get that to mature. Because then immediately you only got only 2 points. I only have to land once. So yeah, this has been fascinating. I'm finding that really funny that you just went through the entirety of this game thinking I'd won it.
I know. That's why I'm glad Werecraft wasn't on with us. He'd be thinking, "What the fuck is it?" I kept saying, "That's unlucky, Werecraft. You should have deserved to win that." He's probably thinking, "What the fuck?"
I did win it.
No, it just shows. I mean, that was that Sunday, and I wasn't in any mood for and your Discord. You must have said, "I'm just not I've just not taken. I've just seen it's kind of like you won the league. I was all right, cool, and I just assumed you'd won this last game as well. So that was good because it was a nice twist to me at the end. I'm like, hang
Yeah, I
on a
know.
minute,
Imagine,
what?
right? Yeah.
Werecraft won it. Oh fuck.
Oh wow.
I'd known that I would have congratulated him when I spoke to him earlier. Oh, congratulations on your last game, Werecraft. He's thinking, cheeky bastard, I won it. What's he on about?
I didn't realise that. Oh wow.
Yeah,
I did
I'll need
this.
to message him.
Oh yikes! Wow, that's funny. Oh dear. Oh yeah, people. Sorry, plug. When that video's probably come out around New Year time. Keep an eye on the channel. People who are watching this now, keep an eye on the channel. That we've done a conversation earlier today with Rossco talking to me and Werecraft about the league and stuff. So yeah, interesting discussion. We ended up talking about other stuff. What was the name of the film we went into as well? I'm going to butcher the names. So you say it. There we go. So we started talking about all that as well. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. That'll be a good another wee cure to your insomnia if you like that.
You should do that as well. Little reviews. Once you've watched us, once you finish the book, what we should do is a little. I mean, a little like half hour, just a little,
half hour chat. Sure.
One. Half hour, and just about your thoughts. Just the first time you reading Dracula, just to get your thoughts on it.
Oh, like
and then we do
reaction.
You've watched Nosferatu, and get your kind of reaction to. And just make it a small one there, because especially as you've won the tournament of Fear of Dracula and you haven't read the book, it's crazy. Not that you have to, but it's almost like, oh, all right, okay, you just assume that everyone that's playing Fury of Dracula has read the book. So, yeah, once you finish that, it'd be interesting just to find it, because again, Werecraft mentioned a couple of things we've had discussion in the past about how players see Dracula as the fictional character, stroke, demi-factual, depending on how you look at it. And they're almost to the point of just not wanting to play him as a character in a game because of what he stands for and so on and so forth. And others have a different view on it. So it's it'd be quite interesting to. I think it'd be another one we could do when Tom interviews you. You can tie into. Also, just for your audience, Nomad are going to be doing an interview, whether I host it or not, as the new Roscoe Parkinson. It'll be Nomad just to find out how they thought the tournament's gone, and obviously with Scot-sword, and probably get Werecraft back in. I think the positions 1 and 2, and Tom, I think would be a good panel.
Obviously, just to make it clear to people, that's not like we haven't confirmed a date yet for that. Yeah, that we don't know. I mean, we hope that's going to happen. I really hope that happens, and just it'd be really nice to do it.
Tom's agreed in principle. It's just we just need to get a date sorted. So when he's back to, I think in the new year, it'll certainly be in the new year. But he's keen for that, and I think it'll be useful, to get from their side any plans, what they've been up to and so on. And then if we can get someone like that, and then get BGG to look at it, I think that'd be great as well. Because the more players we can get into this tournament that are new,
the better
the community is going to be, and the better the tournaments and just gameplay in general. It's
also a philosophy too, like, because obviously Nomad have lots of other games as well. Obviously, I know this doesn't affect us directly, but like, if I know from those Twitch streams where Tom is streaming Fear of Dracula or Talisman or whatever, there'll be other players, and I recognize them from the Discord, but they're not from Fear of Dracula. They're people who like Talisman, but they tune in every week, regardless of what game he's playing. And I'm normally the only one who's there who's maybe like very Fear of Dracula oriented. But that's really nice because then from a perspective of them, they're like, oh, they've organized a tournament. Oh, well, maybe we could do the same thing with our thing, right? And then we got a little bit of like we've got a bit of networking between all the different people in the Discord, right? And again, it raises profile for the game, it raises profile for Nomad, and if Nomad's getting more profile, then they can make all the games the new games plus all the existing games better, and then just the whole thing is just become hopefully this thing that keeps improving, and then people are going to come and go, right? I've said it before, like I don't know how long I'm going to be in this community, not because I fucking hate it, I'm pissed off with Rossco, I need to leave. It's just because real life gets in the way, right? This is a demanding game, it takes up time. We're at the point, all of us, we're not all like soppy teenagers anymore. I think most of us aren't. I think it seems like the way I don't know how old everybody is, but it seems like from most people the way they talk, they've got a lot of they're not teenage age, they're in university, or they've got work commitments, or they've got wives and kids or husbands and all this sort of stuff, right? They've got all this family other stuff going on. This could suddenly be a moment where I'm just like, I can't play. I mean, I'm already thinking about it. Like, if we do a tournament next autumn, well, I'm getting married next autumn. Like, immediately that's a huge commitment, and it's like, well, I might not be able to play. I might not be able to defend my title. So, if I can't defend my title, I'm just, victorious forever.
Look at that. yeah, well done. Yeah, the 1-0 one hit wonder. That'll be
exactly.
Strip you of that. You're only a champion when you defend it.
Here we go. Here
Anyone
we
can win it.
fucking go.
Anyone can win it once. It's defending it is when you're classed as a champion. So
Do you hear
you can
this,
walk
people?
away.
Look at this
Yeah,
outrageous. Ah, this is.
Everyone comment that I'm correct. It's not anyone can be lucky and win a
Ah.
game, but you've got to defend it. Then you're the undisputed champion. Scot-sword's already planning to leave and retire undefeated. That's terrible. 'Cause he knows he's lost. He knows he's won games that he should have lost, and then he wouldn't have won the tournament. So yeah, don't listen to him.
Wow, look at this.
Thumbs down. Dislike the video. Oh no, I'm on it.
Ah.
Dislike the ones I'm not on.
Wow, this is a
Telling
great,
you.
great strategy from my marketing director. My days, this is terrible.
Oh, I resigned a long time from that because I was giving you ideas and you were just ignoring them.
What do you mean?
Yeah, stick
I take on every single idea that you've done. Everything I'm saying, this is not me just because he's sitting here. A lot of the community-related stuff has actually come from Rossco. The fact that Rossco was one of the first players who was like, "Oh yeah, if you want to do like a VC recording, I'll be keen to do that." And then it spawned other people wanting to do it, and we've done 2v1s. We've done all this stuff with all the discussions about Hunter cards and Dracula cards and all this sort of stuff. So yeah,
it's good. Yeah, it's good.
it really has become like, even though it's like my name on the channel and stuff, it's really much like a collaboration between the two of us. So it's been. I don't know if I should be. I shouldn't really be saying all this after you've just slagged me off now for being champion. I'm not going to defend my title, but yeah, never mind. I'll be the bigger man. I'll take the high ground and I'll say no. You deserve as much credit as I do.
All you gotta do is defend your title, and that way it'll never come up. You don't want the whole community going, do you remember that year in 2022 when Scotsword won it? And then he just disappeared. Yeah, we won't class that, right? We're going to class the next tournament as the inaugural.
Wow.
No, I mean, the thing is, it's all recorded for eternity on YouTube, so it's all shows there that you won it.
Oh yeah, the channel's not going anywhere. I think it was so close, and like just from this, like obviously I'm a bit just mentally I'm a bit disappointed. It's just the way it goes. That just because of health, I didn't enjoy the end of the league. Like even if I did, it's not that I won. Like I don't really. I mean, I do care obviously that I won. I'm a competitive player, but if I lost, I'd be like, fine, I lost fair and square, no problem. And I'm really happy that the tournament was just really successful. It was a real shame that just health-wise, it didn't allow me to enjoy it as much as I would have liked to. And same, I'm also annoyed to hear like Werecraft beat me, and I got no problems with that at all. Like Werecraft's a decent player, very decent player, clearly, right? But the fact I couldn't give a really good Hunter showing in my final match. But then, is that really a problem? Like with that, we've been able to go through and we've picked out. There's probably loads more mistakes I've made that I haven't noticed yet. But the fact we've been able to dissect this, me seeing my own gameplay, and then the fact you had no idea, especially the first like 2/3 of the match, you didn't know what was going on because you were away doing other stuff. I hope maybe it's more insightful than watching it live.
It was interesting, and it's funny because it was quite strange. I was in a similar situation during the last game I had to play because it was a forced game to play, and I was moving things around, and it was my birthday, and it was kind of like, oh fuck's sake, right? I need to just move this to keep the tournament, all finishing on the same day. But it was one of those I just wasn't in the mood to play, But it was like, well, I need to honour this because I'm an honourable person and I want to do this. But on another occasion, it would be like, right, well, no, I'm not. The plan is I'm not going to play it, and then the decision would have come down to various other things. And that was a case of, by me doing that, I gave the opponent, basically, I gave them third place. So it was a case of, but then I was like, oh, fuck it, you know what? No, I just can't be bothered. So it's a shame because you go all the way through that, and I guess it's just like it's like battle fatigue, We were playing 2 games a week, sometimes more if you're trying to squeeze stuff in, you're trying to move it around. If you've got the weekend, you're like, do I want to do I want to spend 2 hours of my own time playing Fury if I've got other stuff to do? And it was, by that stage, I think a lot of people were like, okay, this is nearly over now. Let's just try and see what we can do. And some players were doing damage limitation, other players were trying to, go for what they need to. And I think, you're right. Going forward is one of those where it could be a case of, games forward is 1 game a week and it's a 3v1 or something, and it's a more of a team or more of a community game where, I think as you say, the games need to a bit more, personally, sort of more light-hearted playing with it rather than everything comes on this, because it's been a good hell of a tournament, and it's been a hard slog, and no game you could take for granted. So,
no, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
But I think that's the next kind of stage. But I mean, it's been a success for that anyway. So and it shows. I mean, the amount of people that are talking about it, or even now that I've said to you and I and that, oh, definitely be up for the next one. You're like, all right, we've already got. And then you can look at players that, okay, well, there's new ones back in. So, for example, you'd want Bugs B back, you want Captain Gyro, these guys that are good players.
Yep.
And then you can kind of say, well, if we're going to do it limited, the players that, okay, well, we don't invite them back because of unreliability or whatever it might be. So and then you get a kind of group of, and I think it's good to keep refreshing it. You don't want it to be too large a league where it's going to take months, but you also want to give the new guys a kind of
Yeah. I think that's the thing. Like, as a community, we want to have a discussion, but from just a purely from my personal perspective, right? We're not a community that has we're not at the size where we can just be a little bit as an organizer and be arrogant and just go, right, that's it, 20 players only, first come first serve. Again, I've made lots of comparisons, but because I need to give credit on air actually to Flan, who is like one of the mods at the Wingspan community. Flan also has a channel called Wing. I'll link it in the description. Really nice guy, and really talked me through like how they organize tournaments and stuff. And because they've built the community so much, and they do so many competitions, they can, I've seen it where they've released a competition and go, right, there's 32 places here, or it's 20 or whatever, right? But it doesn't matter if you don't get in, or if it's first come first serve, because you go onto like a list if there's dropouts, or if you don't get in, doesn't matter, because like maybe in a month's time another tournament will be announced, and they have like 3 tournaments pretty much running like sequentially. One almost finishing, one midway through, and one starting. So they've constantly got this rotation of tournaments. We can't do that. We're not at the size yet, and also because of the nature of the game. It's a different type of game, so you're going to have to adapt it for that. And I don't want to start limiting places. I'd rather do it. This is purely, obviously, if someone else wants to organize it and do it a different way, that's fine. I'm not saying that my way is the only way, but from my vote would be, we see how many people apply, and then we structure the league based upon how many people are keen and reliable to play. And then we could, but absolutely, I'm open to other ideas where maybe we make it maybe like 3 stages, but the stages are much smaller. So you play in lots of little groups, and then people who have done really well in this league now we've just done, they can get seeded, so they can skip a stage, so they're not playing at the beginning and all that sort of stuff. There'll be ways that we can do it. It all just depends on how many people are interested. So I don't want to start limiting by saying, oh no, you're a newbie, and you can join the next one, especially if it's only like a once a year thing. But we can, as a community, we have to have this discussion. I don't want to be just me. This is why I need to make the feedback form and send it around. I want everyone's opinions on this, and
that's
try and get an idea.
I think that's a good idea. And even if I think the feedback to those that have been involved in it, and then we've already seen sort of ideas from players that weren't involved in it just about the game. Can we do this, and would you? So I think I think initially you want to get feedback from those that were involved, that have committed their time. Right,
oh yeah, absolutely.
The first time, to see if I'll put a box in and say, would you be willing to play again? And then you can establish from there. And then if there's ones that don't want to come back, and then it's a case of, right, okay, we've got space for
but
that.
Let me get an idea. That's one of the questions I'm going to write in the form is, if there were another tournament, say next year or whatever, would you be interested? And then we get a really good idea of how many repeat people would be coming in. We get an idea, right, how many people would carry forward, how many new players might come in. But still, like the first tournament, to get 21 initial sign-ups, like that's pretty ridiculous. I didn't even expect to get anywhere close to that. When I did the draw, I did the draw with the expectation. I was like, okay, when I was looking, I was like, maybe there's like 16 people at this point. I'll do it for like, say, up to 25. But it's like, no way we're going to have more than 25 players. But let's give me a big safety margin. I'll do the draw based on 25 players, and then if it's less or fewer players, it doesn't matter, because the way I did it, it doesn't matter how many players there were, it all got shifted round. And then suddenly the fact that when the deadline passed, I was like, 21? Oh my god, thank goodness I didn't cut it at 20, otherwise I'd been in a right problem. So yeah, it's just, it's...
I think the feedback has been the appetite was there for a tournament. It's that Day was able, or had the time, whatever, to actually put something together. So as you did when you and PCL got together and actually put it into action. You've seen yourself, there's been feedback kind of like, I've always thought about a tournament, but we never got around to doing anything. So you guys are the first to action it, which is why it was a case of I wanted to make it a point that this should be acknowledged by the community. And now, as you say it, that might encourage others, where maybe players in North America might decide, well, tell you what, we'll do our own tournament. Great, that's they do their own and we do a European tournament or whatever, and then that way obviously the benefit about that means that there's not going to be any major time delays with regards
No,
to games, which will
no.
make it a bit easier. And then you can do a kind of champions of Europe versus the champions, like I was
Yeah,
saying to you, like the kind of Ryder Cup stuff,
of
and
course you could.
so there's a lot of play. I mean, I think it's been an undeniable success. Nomad should be, certainly pay attention to that as well because it's put their game, in front of a lot of other players. The YouTube channels, both Quincy's and yours, where the games that are getting shown, has really kind of boosted the game as well. So yeah, it's been an undeniable success. So you should be very proud.
I am. Yeah, I'm really it went beyond my expectations, and it's just been. I mean, and also when you think about it, like it was so we talked about this before. It was a tournament that was so reliant on individual people organizing their time. As an organizer, because of time differences and different work schedules, as an organizer, I couldn't tell you, right, you have to play this day, this time. No, that's impossible because I have no idea what your schedules are. So it had to rely, and I think it took maybe about a week for people to realize this. But then eventually, once everybody realized, oh, right, I have to contact my opponent. Oh, right, we have to organize a time. Right, got it. It worked out fine. And the fact that across, I don't know how many matches we played, like close to like 120 or something, I think in the end we were only missing maybe like 3 or 4 from the first stage because the people who hadn't played were like towards the bottom and they obviously must have thought, oh, well, there's no need to play it. In that sense, it doesn't
Yeah.
affect the qualification, but still, like, and there were a few issues along the way, of course there were, but it could have gone way worse, really, when you think about all the moving parts, and even with only 20 people, having to organize their time. But that's something that, as feedback, we definitely have to put in like stricter rules about how the game should be organized, and that both players have to take the initiative to message their opponent, so it's not just left on one person doing it, or if it's not done by a certain date, if it's not done by the game week, then the organizer
It was like a
must,
cut-off.
yeah, or the organizer must kick in and be like, why haven't you played this match? What's going on? Blah blah blah, right? And be a little bit more sort of rigid about it. And if we implement like a penalty rule and we actually stick by it, and then it's there in writing. And if you break the rule, oh well, then that's it. That's the way I'd say. But that was a thing that I maybe naively looking for. Oh, hopefully that won't happen. I kind of procrastinated on it. That's on me as organizer. I take full responsibility for that. But in the end, fortunately, it could have been way worse than how it all panned out. So.
Oh yeah, I mean to be fair, like you said, I mean the majority of people were responsible, reliable, and committed to, respectful as well of their opponent,
Yeah.
and made sure that we were all cross communicating about, okay, when are you free, and let's work it out there. And there's only the odd one or two that just weren't bothered, and kind of like you're like, well, that whole one thing is the issue. Kind of like, well, why should you be any more different to everybody else that's working and pulling the line and committing to it, and you've got a couple that are just like, nah, I'll just float about and do what I need to when I can and blah blah blah. But what do you mentioned there the chap from what's the bird game called?
Wingspan.
Wingspan. Do they when they do the tournaments, do they have anything like in place about that? Like if it's sort of 3 strikes and
Oh,
out if people don't.
oh yeah. Like they're really strict about it because they've got so many. It's not like us where because our community is quite small. Realistically, there's only like 30 people. Really, when you think about it, like you think about all the 21 people in the league, but a lot of them aren't playing now. But it doesn't matter; they're still there. Plus, you got some people who haven't played in the league, but they're sort of dropping in and out. We can kind of control that. We can kind of know everybody more or less. But they've got. I mean, I'm not joking. Like, let me have a quick look. Like the numbers we're talking about they've got. They're big. They've got a Wingspan Discord, and then they've got a tournament Discord. The tournament Discord has drum roll. Oh, oh, oh! Is it not going to show me? Well, it has. Call it 200 people in the tournament Discord.
Right,
So
okay.
once you start getting to those sort of numbers, you can't control people. People are going to be jumping in and out. You don't know who someone is from Adam, kind of thing, right? So what you're going to have to do in that situation, they have really strict rules about it, and
They're robust for that, yeah. You can't allow that.
Apparently they're really strict about it. If you have like a repeat, I can't remember exactly the rules, but Flan did explain it to me, where they had like it was a repeated rule. You're actually just kicked completely off the tournament server, or you can't apply. You can't apply again. They're really strict now because they're getting really worried because people can come back with different usernames, so they're worried about that. And if there's obvious reoffending, then you're just completely kicked. I don't know how you can stop that indefinitely, but they're trying to find ways to do it. Yeah, they are really strict about it. And I think, but the good thing is they've got multiple tournament hosts and mods, so it's not just down to one person. I think,
Yeah.
from what I can see, they've got one person who's responsible for each tournament, and they then focus on that. That's the way they do it. And this is, everyone's on top of everything. It's not just down to one person having to control 3 tournaments. I mean, yeah, I think they are really strict about it. If there's no word between, or there's no communication between players, then immediately they're constantly going like, what's going on? And if there's no reply within a certain length of time, they're just like, okay, you're kicked out of the tournament. That's it. There's no like if or buts, and I get it. Like, from my nature, it's kind of like, well, I like to give people the benefit of the doubt sometimes. It's like, well, maybe they are really busy and they haven't been able to check, but at the same time, there has to be a bit of a, well, you've committed to this tournament, so you have to have Discord. We're going to communicate through Discord, so there has to be some sort of limit there, and I think, but that has to be made clearer in the rules. And then when, especially newer players, when new people join, we have to explain to them, look, this is how it works. If you need to have Discord, you don't have to have it on your phone, but you have to be willing to check if there are messages, probably on a daily basis, really, at this point. If you can't commit to this, don't join in the first place. But in retrospect, it went, it wasn't perfect, absolutely not, but it went, on the grand scheme of things. I was getting really worried the first week as an organizer. I was seeing that, and like, I don't know if it was a good thing or a bad thing that I had very little work that first week. I don't know if it was like the first week back and I hadn't gone back to work properly. It was like half days, I can't remember. But I was just sitting there, just constantly from my laptop, like, has something happened? Who's messaged me? What's going on? And then people like sending me messages going like, how do I know who I'm playing this week? I was like, oh, it's in the document. I sent it to you. And just, yeah. But then eventually after the first week, people went, right, the rules are there, the fixtures are there, we have to do this, do this. It's on them to organise it. And then it went fine. It was just teaming shots for the first week, more or less. And then obviously with the 2 stages, we were lacking out. But I'll say this as an organizer, and I think I said it in the. I realize this is a very long video, so maybe a lot of people won't hear this. But if you're listening to this and you are a participant in the league, and you're really communicative and you organize all your matches, and some of it, and I know, I would say, like, I'm sure other people did this, but I know for a fact Pizza Wizard woke up and had to play matches at probably about 7 a.m. at least on 2 weekends to get things done because they had other things going on. If you're anybody who's, you've communicated, you got all your matches done in time, or you've fought proactively and you contacted your opponents in advance saying, I can't do it this weekend, can we postpone to the week after, or can we do it the week earlier, whatever. Huge thank you to all of you. This tournament would never, ever, ever have worked without your cooperation with that. So huge thanks. This only works because of the community. This is not just me organizing stuff and, hoping things go well. That it has to be, it's proactive communication on everyone's part. So a huge thank you to anyone who's listening, and for a fact that you did this all properly. Huge thank you. You're part of this thing, and I'm really happy, and I'm really glad that so many people were in the tournament, regardless of if they got eliminated from the first stage or made it to the final league, or however well they played, that they contributed to the whole experience of the tournament in a really honourable and respectable fashion. Huge respect to everybody, and for putting faith into my little idea, basically.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, nobody was forced to play, so everyone joined of their own volition. Everyone kind of committed to what they had to do. And as you say, people could have just drifted away and had no response, come back at all. And, it's like, well, I don't want to play this game anymore. It's not like they're bound by, well, whereas again, like you say, if it was a robust, why are you not playing? Right, well, you're out. They might be like, oh, all right, okay. But everyone that joined, it was like, we all joined because we wanted to play the tournament. Yeah. And that was the kind of common theme between everybody. And yeah, I mean, it was a, I keep reiterating, it was a rare success, especially for an inaugural tournament. And because of the amount of people that have said, Quincy's made it common knowledge again. It's something he's always thought about and wished there was a tournament. And Quincy's well established in the game and the lore and kind of his setup. You think, well, that could be something Quincy would have looked at doing, but he may have gone, nah, do you know what? I know the hassle. I don't have the time or the inclination to get involved in that. And it's taken somebody with the gumption and the energy to kind of go, well, do you know what? Let's see how it works. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And it's worked. A treat. So
yeah. Happy days.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely from it.
PCL's done well for you as well
Yeah, that was
to do that.
big. I think that was really big. I mean, obviously, like I had positive feedback, because people don't know this, but when I came up with the initial idea, I think I can't remember who exactly I pitched it to. I think I pitched it to you and maybe to Werecraft. I
Yeah.
can't remember. I definitely pitched it to you. But then it was the fact that when I made the initial announcement, literally like the same day, PCL was there. It was like, and he was thinking of the same thing, but he couldn't work out how to break tie differences and stuff. And then he was, oh, idea. Well, it was actually then it was only influence score at that point, whereas damage had to come in later. And now, but it was then really, but then the fact that he had like this energy and was like, because of his job, he was able to do certain things. I mean, I could have done a lot of things, but he was just able. It was the fact I had somebody else there with me. Is not, he didn't do anything that I couldn't do, but it was the fact that I had somebody there beside me who was like, no, 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 no,
Just sharing it.
just
Yeah,
share it.
exactly.
I'll do this, you do this. I was like, oh, perfect, right. I can now focus on this stuff, and you can now focus on this stuff. And then, we're constantly checking each other. And then the fact that the images he made, like the thumbnail that I use for all the League videos, I don't know where he got that image from. It must be from Nomad or something, but I really liked it. I liked the font he did with everything.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, right, let's use that. And the fact he did that, I was like, oh, well, fuck it. I'm going to have to try and top that now because I can't let him take all the glory. Let's make a fucking trailer video, goodness what else, right? I think it's quite funny. People thought that he'd made the trailer video, right? But because he was doing a lot of the artwork. I did say he was doing all the artwork for it. But it's the fact that you've got people there beside you who are just like, no, 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 we do this together. You do this, and then also then it was really great then that in the later stage of the tournament, he knew how all my spreadsheets worked, putting in the results or whatever. It's like, I just kind of want to concentrate on playing, and I want to kind of know the results as a surprise. And as I spectate them, can you do all the results, like inputting the results and doing the table for me? He's like, oh yeah, no problem. I was like, oh great, perfect. And now then you've got that burden shared, and that just makes life so much easier. And then if there are mistakes, then you got that second voice there, just to be like, whoa, hold on a second. Same with like when I wrote the rules and everything, I sent them to you, just because I was just like, just in case there might be something missing here. And the same thing like that happened with like the influence score, like the IDS tiebreaker. And there was a huge flaw in it. And again, as an organizer, I didn't see it, but like if Dracula had won every game, obviously now we know that that didn't happen, but if Dracula had won every game, there was no differentiating about what type of victory it was. That's why damage had to come into the equation. But the same thing, like that, I only realized it, or I might have realized it later, I have no idea. I mean, I probably would have done, but, well, maybe not, it all depends, but it probably would have come up at some point. Someone would have probably brought it up, but it could have been into the tournament. It could be midway through the tournament. And then that would have caused huge problems because we wouldn't have retrospectively be able to implement it. Because the fact that I watched Quincy's video about just the tournament and just he was advertising or whatever, and he just said, just I don't know if it was like just an off the cuff comment or I can't remember, but he just said something like, "Oh, it'd been better if he had influence and damage because that's kind of what the game is based around anyway." And I suddenly realized, oh crap, that's a huge flaw. Imagine if Dracula wins every game. And he did actually say that. Oh well, Dracula's probably not going to win every game, so it doesn't matter. And I was like, no, that it does matter. That's a huge flaw. And I think I said to him afterwards, like, you should have told me. I'm open to ideas. I'm not like this. As long as as long as the ideas are easy to implement, I'm happy to implement anything. That is like kind of like the thing. It's like if it makes the tournament better. I've probably said this many times before. People's like, oh, Scott, so you've said this before. But like anything that makes the tournament better, as long as it's easy to implement, go for it. And I'm not going to sit here and be like all fucking proud and be like, oh no, it's my idea. We're doing it my way. No, if you've got an idea that makes everything better, tell me, and I'll be open-minded to it. Same like if it wasn't me organizing it, if it's somebody else organizing it, I'd hope they'd be open-minded to at least hear my ideas. And as long as they're made in a way that is simplistic to understand, also to explain. That's also the problem. You've got to try and think about it. That it was clearly obvious. I mean, no disrespect to people, but like I sent that document with the rules. It was obvious that quite a lot of people hadn't read them because there was still confusion about how did IDS work, what do we have to do here, blah blah blah. So I think that's another thing we have to think about is like how can we simplify that and make it a little bit easier to read or whatever. I don't know. We as a community we can think about it.
I think you're right, yeah, as long as the caveats are, suggestions are always welcome, as long as they are easy to put into place and easy for those to understand.
Correct.
And that's not saying people haven't got the intelligence to understand it, but it's the way things are written, or if there's ambiguity or what have you. Because otherwise, all that happens is it's the old saying that, a camel is a horse designed by committee. You just get everybody giving you their suggestions without any yeah, but how would you implement it? I don't know, but that's my suggestion. So I'll leave it to you.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you don't want to distract away from the whole thing. It's a game you want to play. You don't want it to be too formulaic where you're like, now what do I need to do after this?
Yeah.
And it
Whereas
should
it's
just be
just
a simple, there it is, that's it done, job done.
yeah.
So
Whereas the way we did
it's
it was nice and easy because all you had to worry about was influence. But obviously, if Dracula wins, that's always going to be 13. If it's Dracula, whatever, and then the health. That's it. That's all you had to tell me.
yeah,
Influence and health, and that's really easy. They're things you during the game you don't have to track it because well you are going to track it because you're playing the game, not because you're thinking about it for a spreadsheet. It's just as soon as the game finishes. Oh, what was the influence? What was the health? Okay, that's it. Done. Easy peasy. There's no like complicated things. You're having to track things throughout the game. It's just an end game kind of thing. So yeah,
well, that's it. I mean, you got enough to think about with the game. It's not a simple game you can just jump into. You've all your focus is going to be on that. And I think, yeah, I mean, there's always it's one of those. It's after every tournament, there's always tweaks to
yeah, of
shave
course.
things off or add things on. You can't like, well, that'll
Hmm.
make it better. What about this? So it's only going to get better and better.
Absolutely.
And in others, I think, and if they, like I say, if they want to look at it, they've got a template there in a format that you've produced that they can just say, right, well,
But that's the
this is
thing.
what we do. We'll do a North American version, and we're going
Hmm.
to use the same system because why change it? And if they want to, they can. But it's already you've already put that in place for them
Hmm.
to start picking up tournaments wherever they want to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
And I think that's the thing, like, and as I said before, like, I don't know, will I organize the next tournament? Will I even be in the community? I have no idea, right? But the fact we've got all the infrastructure now, more or less, right? Spreadsheets that I used, they could just be copy pasted, change, that they're very easy to fix, right? So all I have to do is whoever's going to organize it, we're like, there you go, psh, there's the package, go off and do what you want with it, and you can then just got questions, come back to me, kind of thing. You know what I mean? We're not having to think now. That's the other thing with this tournament. We had, which I think was maybe a detriment a little bit, was the fact because the deadline for registration was so far ahead, was because both me and PCL were going to be away. So we had to think, right, how much time are we going to have over the summer, right? How much time do we have to organize all of this? But now, because the infrastructure is in place, if we did another tournament, we could do it, where the deadline is really close to the start of the tournament. Not like
yeah,
it should be like a couple of weeks before, because you don't have to. All you have to do is just do the draw, and
the
that's it.
foundations there, haven't you? Yeah, you've got that
Exactly.
there. So.
Exactly. And then the thing is, then because people have signed up, they're not going to forget about it. They'll know, oh right, I signed up for that 2 weeks ago. Oh right, now we know what group we're in, and then we can start rather than waiting 6, 7 weeks or whatever it was, and then people might have forgotten or whatever. It just um,
Agree.
so that's a thing. But that thing, we've got all that infrastructure now. But definitely from a channel's perspective, yeah. I mean, I've for the past like goodness knows how many weeks, every Friday it's just been a dump of League videos, and it's been games I've played, games I've spectated, and they're all great games. I'm really happy. Apart from the last two where I wasn't feeling great, in general, I'm really happy with what we've done. I'm really really honored that you've joined me in like doing co-commentary because that made it. I mean, I was enjoying the whole
No,
thing
not at
anyway,
all.
but
No, enjoy it.
having that banter and back and forth and things was really great. But now it's just going to go back to standard one video a week. I'm going to do a little video at New Year to explain this. Just like one video a week, just a bit of just a bit of fun and like a lot more showcasing the community. Get other people on here. We had the conversation with Werecraft earlier, but I want to play a game with Werecraft, either with you or 1v1 or however, just depending on timing, where we can chat to him. I want to get Bugsby on. Clearly, Pizza Wizard and Captain Gyro and Spencer seem to be like have really good banter. They want to be
Yeah,
involved, so that's great. We can do lots of things with them. We've got this challenge card idea, which will just make
yeah.
the game a little bit more ridiculous. But I think we need that after having such an intense period. I mean, I'm not saying the games are going to be. We're going to take it. We're not going to be completely reckless with how we're playing. We'll still be a serious game where we're trying to educate people who are watching, but still have a little bit more like fun with it in the sense of like, well, if things go a little bit pear shaped, oh well, who cares? It's just a bit of fun. We can twist the game slightly different ways.
Yeah.
I think
I,
it'd be nice, and it'll make the game nice and fresh again.
I think, yeah, I agree with everything you said there. I think as well for newbies that there has been that there's been players that you see that come in for maybe, oh, I wouldn't name any, but I can't remember the chap's name. He came in, he played 5 or 6, seemed really keen, but he lost every game, and it was kind of like,
Mm,
yeah, it was like, do you want to do a 2v1 or something? Or because he just kept playing his Drac, and it was like, and then he's gone now, because it's one of those where they just go, I'm not wasting any more time on it. I'm just getting fucking destroyed every time I play. What's the point?
yeah.
Rather than, you got to come into it and kind of go, right, okay, I think a sort of 2v1 Werecraft does with newbies. It's like bring them in, join a 2v1, so you can get to play with another hunter experience and get to know the game that way, because it can be daunting where you throw it into Discord, you start your game, and you're kind of like, right, so how does this work? Where do I find my UI? And you've got to just like get all the principles in place, get all the basics, and then they can start to. And I think with all the videos you've got now, between you and Quincy, you've got all Quincy's sort of like hunter videos, you've got your videos of actual gameplay where it's just different players. It's not just how you play. It's as you say, it's games against different opponents. It's games you've spectated where we've got different people, different opinions. So hopefully it'll bring those people that want to get involved in it and realise that, okay, it is a steep learning curve, but once you get it, the rewards are fantastic. But it's a shame. There's been 2 or 3 that I've seen over that I've kind of you don't see anymore. And I can understand it if they're coming in and there's no real sort of, they're just they're picking somebody who's playing them and just destroying them. It's like, well, I get it. You kind of
Yeah,
play.
of course.
You're not going to lower your level because somebody doesn't know as much about the game
No,
as they.
no.
The onus is on them to get to know it. But on the same token, to build the community, you want to try and welcome them in and give them enough.
Of course.
Kind of like, well, look, you need to. This is what you need to do. What I can do to help you is this, and then back on them to know the game itself or just the cards and these kind of things. If they don't, then it's like, okay, well, you've had your chance, right? I'm just going to we're going to play as normal now, because if you're always going to keep asking questions throughout a game that you should know or you should have taken the time to know about it, we all had to learn that. Nobody came in. We've all had the time in to understand it.
And I'm really against people in general with board games going easy on you, because then
Oh no,
the time that you do they do win, that you almost rob them of that enjoyment. Like the first time I beat you, or the first time I beat Mr. Green, you're suddenly like, oh my god, right, I've actually done it. I got through this learning curve, and you've that kind of like, it doesn't matter what game it is. It doesn't have to be Fear of Dracula. It could be anything. Like when I'm playing, I've played other board games like probably the same when if I go into the Wingspan community, or when I play Ticket to Ride in real life, or whatever it is, right? You don't forget your first win, and that feeling, oh my god, I've actually learned how to do it, and I've got it. It doesn't matter how many games that takes. So you don't want to rob someone of that. So I think that's kind of important. No. And I think the other thing too is, like, from a community perspective, like, I want my channel to be very community focused, because then I don't know how many people join. I'm not saying, I mean, the odds that people are joining the community from my channel are very unlikely, because Quincy's got a bigger subscriber count, you got Board Game Geek and all this sort of stuff, right? So I'm like very small fish, big pond. But even if someone does, let's just say, the odds are very simple. If someone does come across my videos, they're interested, they'll see then in the videos you've got me, you, people like Pizza Wizard, Werecraft, Captain Gyro, Sensor, all these sort of players, Mr. Green as well, and then when they come into the Discord, I might not be about, but then somebody else, a Pizza Wizard or someone else replies and goes, oh, hi, would you like a game? Then they're like, oh, right, and they know, oh, this is a friendly face, they've been on here, they're well spoken, they're very humble and all this stuff. I'm safe to go with them, we can play a game, and they'll help me and that stuff. Because it can be a bit intimidating when you go into like a new community and you don't know anybody. And then
you go in there and you kind of like, you're trying to find somebody to be friends with.
Yeah.
And then it's like, that's you for the rest of the term. You're there and there. But yeah, as you say, I think there is that. I mean, the game itself is. I think there's a lot of players that have under it. I remember years back, it was a case of you'd be halfway through and someone says, "Oh, I need to go now. I'll catch up with you another time." And you're like, "What the fuck?" You just because they just didn't. It was like, well, I was only just jumping on. Or it was like, folks, anyone fancy a quick game? It was like,
That's it's a quick game of Fear of Dracula.
And I'm glad Nomad. There's been a few requests I've seen about kind of adding a save facility. It's like, fuck that, Nomad, don't do that.
No.
Because what's the, it's like you see somebody playing it. Oh, right, well, I need to go now. Right, we'll save it, and then they never come back, and you're like, fuck. It's it's reciprocated. You're both putting in your own precious time to play this, so you need to make sure you're jumping on this because you want to. I mean, the game is fucking fantastic, but it's I think the next sort of evolution of your channel again is something that even look at the others, the tabletop, the BGG and stuff. There's not a lot they do where it's like a group playing, 2v1, 3v1, where you've got actual. I was saying this off air. We you don't get off of that where if I'm watching something on YouTube. There's a couple of things I'll watch about various and it's 3 or 4 people chatting about it, and it's like you're in the conversation, albeit you're not, but you're kind of like you're getting different opinion. You're not just listening to somebody talk about their opinion for a
Hmm.
couple of hours. It's like you might be sitting there going, I don't agree with that. And somebody else on the YouTube says, well, I don't agree with that. And you're like, oh, and then all of a sudden, I think it's a lot more immersive when you've got a conversation going on the channel talking about a game that somebody can watch, and as you say, they can become familiar with like the characters, if you like. They'll see
Absolutely.
your game and they might see me a certain way and Gyro and kind of all and it's like, ah, right, yeah, anything to bring more to the community. The rising tide lifts all ships, and
Yeah.
I would love it that if we had a community here of even 50 members, you'd be like, that's fucking impressive.
Yeah.
And
Agreed.
all of half of them are available, and you're getting games once a week, and it's almost a different opponent every. That would just be
Hmm.
fantastic. I mean, it's come on leaps and bounds since I joined,
Yeah.
and
And
back then the
even
pool
since
was
I've
really
joined, like the last, I mean, I joined in what was it, March, beginning of March or February, something like that. I joined,
yeah, yeah.
and even then, I've noticed a big difference since then. Very
And it
different.
just makes
Hmm.
it just makes a difference, and you kind of the those that stay are the ones over the time. You're kind of like, right, they're the ones that are going to stay. Some will transient and come in and come and go, but then that's fine. You've always got your core players that are there, and that core is getting larger and larger, which is it's what you want. Because like I was saying to you before, you don't want to be nothing against any players, but you don't want to be playing the same player every game, because you're like, I want to play the game, but wouldn't mind a bit of variety, or
Yeah.
you just
Yeah.
want to play someone different as well. So
Of course. Yeah.
now we've got that choice. If I
Hmm.
mean, if you're doing a 3v1, there's all of a sudden, that would never be heard of before, because it was,
No.
and that should be something that could be planned as game where, you could have a 4v1, right? It'll be a long game, but there'll be a lot of humour, a lot of involvement, a lot of immersion that years ago just wouldn't happen, because you wouldn't be able to get, there wasn't enough people in the group
Hmm.
to get everybody to sign up for that. But secondly, there wasn't that involvement of, I don't know you well enough, but you want to get involved, and you don't want to jump onto VC and find out after 10 minutes that, oh, fucking hell, this,
Yeah, there's a person I don't want to be
yeah,
on VC with. But whereas like that's
yeah,
the thing, like if I can show people that there's a nice community here, and
yeah, absolutely. You're doing the right thing.
we got all these people on VC, then new people who come in know, oh right, this is Pizza Wizard, this is Roscoe, whoever it is. Oh, I know I can go to VC with them because I mean, they're not pricks. Well, apart from Roscoe, he's a complete prick, by the way. But I mean,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
you've
Nobody will want to play me, so that's fine.
absolutely not. So that's fine. Just avoid Roscoe. It's fine. But I think that's the thing. Like, it has that friendly face. I was really funny the first time. I remember when I came in and I put in. I can't remember if I did it correctly or not. Probably not. I was like for a game, and it was Mr. Greedy who replied, and I was like, oh my god, he's the guy from like I've seen him play Quincy. Oh my god, I'm playing against like a really good player. And then suddenly realized, oh, it's not that I played against like the really top player. I mean, I did, but like there's only like 3 people here. Like, what's going
Yeah.
on here? Like, I realized there's like immediately as soon as he was like, oh yeah, I'll play another one. I'll play another one. I said like, is there anybody else here? And he's like, no, not really. um,
Yeah, it was pretty barren back in the day. It was like when Mr. Green would just play 10 games back to back, and you're like, I fancy a game, but I don't want to play with you. Well, there's nobody else. Oh,
no,
fuck, right,
yeah,
okay.
no
Let's
disrespect
go.
to Mr. Green. Mr.
No,
Green's a very nice guy. I've played against him,
absolutely.
but say like you want that
Absolutely.
variety, and that's why I really savored the games I played against him in the league because during the whole of the first stage, obviously we weren't playing because he was in a different group to me, and then we
Mm-hmm.
weren't really playing friendly matches much. So I don't think we played each other. We played a little bit before the tournament, but we didn't actually play much. So it's actually that really nice when we actually played against each other. It's like, oh wow, like it feels like obviously I played against him many times, but it feels fresh again because I hadn't played against him for a bit. He's probably might have changed his strategy, maybe not, maybe he has. So it's really nice, and I think that's a really it all turned out really good in the end. I think it just keeps building from there. And if I leave it, I don't know. Again, I this time last I was thinking about this. This time last year, if you told me, oh yeah, you would have rediscovered Fury of Dracula because I obviously lost the game because I bought physical. My friends didn't like it, so it's just been stuck there on the shelf. Never knew I was going to play it.
Yeah.
If you told me I would have discovered Fury of Dracula and really enjoy playing it, and then the fact that I would have started a YouTube channel like that, the two, and then organize a tournament as well. Like those things just would have been completely inconceivable to me a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that's all happened, and I don't know. Again, as I said, I'm not saying that this YouTube is suddenly going to disappear. It'll always be here, and I hope I keep doing as long as possible. But there might be a point where I can't. But if I can leave, just leave something behind, like if it's the first tournament or like these nice community games or whatever, then I'll be really happy with it. But it's really nice. I think come for the game, stay for the community. I hope is what is the message from this. Like we got really friendly people here who want to help teach you. They've also got like just great. They're just good for a laugh with, and that's kind of what you want. It's really interesting too. You're talking about that with the YouTubers you watch. Same with me. Like one of my favorite YouTubers. Again, I don't play League of Legends much anymore. I still watch his videos because they're fucking hilarious. There's a guy from Sweden called Spazzy. I know, strange name, but there you go. But same thing. He's got like a gaming group where they play League of Legends and other games. And oftentimes, you watch it for all the communication between them, and as soon as you see one of them, like when you see like the loading screen at the start of the video, and you see one of the people, you're like, oh, they're in this video. This is going to be a fucking hoot, right? You just know the shenanigans are going to go down, and you know they're all different personalities. They're not all the same. We're all going to have slightly different ways of doing things, and that's what you kind of want. And the community is really nice, and this only wouldn't. I wouldn't have done this if I didn't like the community. But the fact, Werecraft took the initiative at the beginning and said, "We like to do a 2v1." And normally I'm very like distrustful. I start seeing this random guy messaging on Discord like, is this like spam or something? Like, what's this about? And I don't. But I was like, oh fuck it, let's just take a risk once in a while. And he was like, oh yeah, like do you want to do a 2v1 match as hunters? I was like, oh, go on then, let's give it a go. And then we beat Mr. Green together, and then the bug had bitten. I was like, oh right, okay, now we've got it. If he hadn't have done that, I'm not saying I wouldn't have stayed, but I could have been in the exact same situation because I lost 3 games prior to that. Eventually, I might have just lost interest, especially if there's nobody there. I might have lost interest. So, full credit to everybody, people who are actively participating in the community, either it's doing the league or just posting, looking for games, or willing to help out, or the fact there's like very easily, like last night, we played a 3v1 game, which would be a really good watch, actually, by the way, people. Keep an eye out for it in about a month's time. I was Dracula against Spencer Wolfheart, Captain Gyro, and Pizza Wizard. But same thing, like, in a normal situation, people would be like, oh, no, we'll just do a 1v1. But the fact everyone was like, yeah, fuck it, let's just do a 3v1. Let's have a good laugh. And it was really good fun. And, at beach, I'm like, well, let's just... I think I said it to you with the game. I don't know if we did it off air or with Werecraft, but if I had the choice between playing Fear of Dracula pretty much every night, which was kind of what I was doing in the spring, so I was trying to learn really quickly, or only play maybe like once or twice a week, but they're really good quality games, either 1v1 or with lots of banter with the community, I'd pick that. For me, that's better. And I think that it's just, then you're not burnt out with the game, you enjoy it, and it's just great crack with everybody. So
I think it allows it. It's got that flexibility. Those that want to just do a 1v1, that's great. But if you've got a pool, I just agree with everything you've said there as well. If you've got a pool of 4 or 5 that are willing to play, and they're all willing to jump on VC, they've all got something to articulate and talk about, and you can get banter between it, then that'd be something I'd be looking forward to. Like, oh right, Friday, great. It's that we're playing a game where it's like virtually in a game with 4 or 5 mates in your room, in your house, and having a chat and playing the game and all the rest of it. Yeah, I'm like that now. I think that's where the game's evolved to now, where it's that where a 1v1 without VC would seem quite sterile. Before it was the norm, but now it's kind of like you just sit and listen to music in the background or something. Whereas the banter we've had has been, it's evident that these guys that are jumping on have got similar banter, which is
great to hear. Yeah,
there's nobody kind of like everyone's just jumping on and saying their piece and all the rest of it. So I think that would be a good to kind of get. We'll need to chat about that maybe this week at some point. Drop an email to the guys and see. That'd be it'd be quite a good laugh to jump in. And it's like you were saying a while back about it, and I was like a bit hesitant. I'm like, oh, it's going to take ages. But again, I think that was probably before Gyro and that had jumped on, and it's like, actually, this the game is like a byproduct of everyone together just having a laugh. It's like you're having a laugh, and it's all because you're playing Fury, but it's going to come down to the banter and who's playing what, and doing that move for fuck's sake, and just ribbing each other when they're not, and which we've already seen. We've already seen with the bullets thing and the kind of pistol and
and Garlic Reef, and obviously like the game I was playing, was it last night or the other night before? We had quite a lot of banter at the start, and then it kind of like dropped off a bit towards the end because we were just more focusing on the game, and the 3 of them were having quite a lot of in-depth strategic discussion. I'm like, I'll just leave them be. I'm not gonna jump in here and like try to be a twat about it. But
So,
then
yeah,
later, then there'll be things come up going, oh right, that's what's going on. You know, you can pitch in later with stuff, so it's fine. It was actually it was really nice, and I want to keep doing it. I'm just gonna say, we've probably broken our video record. There's almost 3 hours. I don't know. I should probably. This is really all this discussion should have been a separate video, really. But never mind. Fuck it. I'll just tag on to the end, and people can sit through this. But we should probably stop just for the sake of.
do your outro, then we'll.
We can just keep chatting. So yeah, thank you everybody for watching this game. Hopefully you've learned some stuff from it. It's obviously really hard for me to watch this game back, but you learn from your mistakes, and that's kind of the key thing. And that the games can be that way, regardless of what events and things can happen. Things can go away, can really slip away from you really quickly, and then you're forced to make really big decisions and stuff. But well played to Werecraft for the final game. I think Werecraft might have said to me actually it was kind of almost like a poetic way to end that, you know, I still managed just to win the league, but he beat me, so he took away my 100% win records. He got a little bit of a victory over me. So yeah, I'm really keen for more games against Werecraft. We have quite tense rivalry in terms of like we're good. We're not like tense when we talk, but like, you know, our games are normally really intense. And so yeah, thank you for watching this, everybody. Thank you for watching if you've watched any of the league games. Thank you very much for doing so. The playlist will always be there. You can go back and watch whatever games you want, and any comments and likes would be welcome. And see you in the next video very soon.